Chapter 23. 1 year later, in the pontiff's palace, are you sure? The pontiff looked at Hulayina, who was kneeling on the ground. Hulayina nodded firmly. Your Majesty, if I don't make another breakthrough, I'm afraid that Tang San will catch up to me sooner or later. For the sake of the martial soul palace, I'm willing to take the risk. Tang San, somewhere beside the river, when Tang San saw his reflection in the river, he couldn't help but be stunned. His skin was a bit fairer than before, and his eyes were blue. He had a head of beautiful blue hair, and his handsome face carried a bit of a resolute aura. His face was as sharp as a knife, releasing a hidden spirit. Is this what I look like after my awakening? It seems like Light Rain told you about your mother a long time ago. Your eyes have become bigger, and you look more like your mother. Since you've inherited her bloodline, you'll naturally inherit the genes that she's always hidden in your body, Tang Hao said. No, Light Rain was just speculating. Then, I found out that my mother was a blue-silver emperor. However, the only thing I don't understand is why Light Rain knows something about soul beasts. Tang San said. Didn't Light Rain tell you? Strictly speaking, Light Rain is an auspicious beast of fate. He's the soul beast that carries the fate of all soul beasts. His understanding of soul beasts surpasses ours. As long as an important soul beast dies, he'll definitely be able to sense it, Tang Hao said. What? Light Rain is also a soul beast? Tang San was shocked. In fact, this was something that Tang Yu had said when Tang Hao and Tang Yu met in private. In fact, it was not nonsense. Ever since Tang Yu obtained the spirit eyes of fate, he could indeed sense the fate of any person or soul beast. As long as that person or soul beast was in danger, their fate would turn blood red. Once they died, their fate would disappear. Therefore, Tang Hao really believed it at that time. Sigh. I wonder how Light Rain is. Tang San looked at the sky and said, Let's go. Next, I'm going to take you to a place. You'll have to stay there for a long time. Oh, Tang San replied. Then, he followed Tang Hao. There were several tall mountains in the Heaven Do Empire, and there was an ancient castle at the top of each mountain. There was a relatively large castle at the top of the tallest mountain, and the words, Main Castle of the Body Sect, were carved on the entrance of the castle. There was a large training ground outside, and a few young men and women wearing simple clothes were sparring with each other. Their soul rings were the best combination, and the weakest was actually a soul king. The strongest among them was a soul sage. At this moment, a young girl who was less than 14 years old walked over from afar. The young girl was very beautiful. Her purplish-black hair fluttered in the wind, and her purplish-black eyes were abnormally charming. She wore a black trench coat with black tights and black tights underneath. There was a katana on the left side of her waist. Her face was expressionless, and her entire person was abnormally cold. When this person appeared, everyone stopped and looked at her. However, there was no lewd look in their eyes. There was only reverence, respect, and a trace of fear. Greetings, Lord Demon Eye. Everyone bowed to her. Yes. She only nodded in response. After that, she entered the castle. Everyone was astonished. Sigh. No matter how many times I see her, the Demon Eye Goddess is still very charming. A boy who was only 16 years old said. Forget it. Do you think she'll like you? You're not good enough for her with your abilities. She's a demonic young girl. Furthermore, I heard that her master is that person. You know that she and that person aren't from the body sect. A young man said. Shut up. Do you want to die? If that person hears you, you don't even know how you'll die. What do you mean, not from the body sect? A year ago, that person announced that he's from the body sect. A young girl suddenly reminded him. I'll shut up. I didn't say anything. This was the conversation between the senior disciples. Some of the new disciples did not know about this Lord Demon Eye and that person. After asking the senior disciples, they found out that a year ago, A 15-year-old boy brought a young girl to the body sect. He said that he was looking for a father and daughter named Yap Tianlin and Yap Lingling. In the end, all the elders and the 2 vice sect leaders did not listen and surrounded them. In the end, they were all defeated by a single glare from the boy. This incident alerted the 2nd sect leader and the 1st sect leader. Only Yap Lingtian's father and grandfather, Yap Liangchen and Yap Outyan, it felt weird, fought with the boy at first. The 1st and 2nd sect leaders were already peerless Doluo. However, 2 peerless Doluo were not a match for the boy even after joining forces. In the end, the boy spat out 2 words, demigod. Only then did they stop in fear and kneel in front of the boy to apologize. In the end, they asked for the reason and brought the boy to Prison Peak to look for Yap Tianlin and Yap Lingling. The boy said something in front of them. Yap Tianlin and Yap Lingling cried on the spot and thanked the boy. After that, the 2 elders announced that Yap Tianlin was reinstated as the young master of the body sect and that the position of the 3rd sect leader would be given to him. In addition, he was allowed to enter and leave the body sect freely. Of course, the elders were not willing to do so at first. After all, Yap Tianlin was only a titled Dolu. To be the sect leader of the body sect, he had to be at least level 98. However, under the young man's terrifying pressure, the elders and vice sect leaders had to compromise. After that, the boy announced that he would be staying in the body sect. No one objected. After all, they could not beat him in a fight, they could not chase him away, and they could not outtalk him. Therefore, they allowed him to stay with the girl. However, what surprised everyone was that the boy had a deep understanding of the body spirit. He knew how to speed up the cultivation of the body spirit and how to speed up the second awakening of the body spirit. He passed on all this knowledge to them. In less than half a year, the body sect had become even stronger than before. Everyone was very grateful. The boy only had one request, and that was that the body sect must be virtuous in the future. After that, everyone knew that the boy and girl also had body spirits. Moreover, they had special eyes. The boy was called the Lord God of Body by the elders of the body sect. The girl was also called the Lord Demon Eye. The inside of the castle was very luxurious. There were 36 pillars supporting it, and beneath each pillar stood an old man. There was also a throne, and beneath the pillars were 36 heavenly dipper elders. When they saw the young lady enter, they all knelt down on one knee and respectfully said, "Lord Demon Eye." "Elders, please rise." The purple-haired young lady hurriedly said, "Thank you, Lord Demon Eye." The 36 elders stood up slowly. There was no disdain in their eyes, only respect. "That, elders, where is my master? He sent a voice transmission saying that he is looking for me." The girl said, "Reporting to Lord Demon Eye. The Lord God of Body is playing chess with Lord Sect Leader in the backyard. Lord Sect Leader said that you should look for him when you come." Elder Tian Kue, who was below the first pillar, said, "Playing chess?" The girl pouted. She was very cute and charming. "It has been a year. He only taught me how to cultivate and understand the profound meaning of the saber. For the rest of the time, he did not even care about me. Stinky master. Bad master. It's not good to talk behind someone's back," a teasing voice sounded. It was the voice of a boy. "Huh!" The girl was suddenly stunned. Originally, there was no one sitting on the throne, but now there was a young man sitting there. The young man was extremely beautiful and handsome. His long blue hair draped down his back, and he was wearing the same clothes as the purple-haired girl, a black windbreaker, tight shirt, and leggings. His right hand was supporting the right side of his face. With a smile on his face, he stared at the girl with his icy blue eyes. The 36 elders knelt on one knee again. "Greetings, Lord God of Body. Everyone, please rise." "Thank you, Lord." The purple-haired girl stared at the blue-haired boy. She put her hands on her hips and said unhappily, "How impressive! Lord God of Body, I wonder why you are looking for me?" The boy smiled. For some reason, when the girl saw the boy's smile, she suddenly had a bad premonition. "How's your mirror flower, water moon, and mirror still water?" The boy smiled. "Humph. Master, why don't you try it?" The purple-haired girl unhappily pulled out the knife on her left waist and pointed it at the boy. However, the girl was suddenly shocked. The boy had disappeared. That's right, he had disappeared. She hurriedly looked around. There was no one around. She was anxious. She seemed to have felt a terrifying, murderous aura. All the elders were puzzled. Strange, the Lord God of Body had clearly walked in front of Lord Demon Eye. Why did Lord Demon Eye seem to be unable to see him? Mirror still water. When the water is still, it can reflect the moon. Mirror flower, water moon, turning unrealistic things into reality. When I disappear, you have already lost. A cold voice rang in the girl's ears. After that, the boy appeared in front of her. His smile had long been replaced by indifference. He was holding a wooden stick in his hand. The wooden stick was placed on the girl's neck. Because of fear, the girl's knife had already slipped to the ground. The girl had yet to regain her senses. Her back was already drenched in sweat. That murderous aura just now. Master really wants to kill me? You. The boy sighed. She was hit on the head with a wooden stick. Ouch. It hurts. The girl suddenly woke up from her dream. She covered the big bump on her head with both hands and tears flowed out from the corner of her eyes. Sigh. If you were on the battlefield, even if you had a few hundred lives, it wouldn't be enough. You haven't even mastered mirror flower, water moon and mirror still water. The boy sighed. The girl picked up the knife and put it back to the hilt. She muttered, so strong. Is this the ultimate profundity? Her eyes were filled with admiration and love. I called you here this time to ask you to go somewhere, the boy said seriously. Where to? The purple-haired girl asked. A good place. The boy's lips curled up. For some reason, the purple-haired girl suddenly trembled. Half a month later, Tang Hao brought Tang San to a tavern in a small town. The air in the tavern was very turbid. Tang San noticed that all the decorations here were actually black. Although it was daytime outside, there was a cold and dark feeling as soon as he walked in. At this time, there were about a few hundred people sitting in the tavern. Although the air was turbid, very few people were talking, so it was very quiet. Tang Hao, Tang San, and his son's arrival attracted a lot of attention, but most of them only caught a glimpse of them before passing by. Tang Hao found a seat in the corner and sat down with his son. A black-clothed waiter with an indifferent expression walked over. What would you like? Tang Hao said coldly. 2 cups of Bloody Mary. The waiter's expression changed slightly. Are you sure? After being glanced at by Tang Hao's cold eyes, he did not dare to say anything and turned his head away. After a while, 2 cups of turbid liquid were served. The liquid was dark red and emitted a strong fishy smell, as pungent as blood. Tang San frowned, but Tang Hao picked up a cup and drank it in one gulp. He raised his head and looked at his son. Drink it. Tang San hesitated for a moment and slowly picked up the cup. Dad, what is this? Drink it. Tang San took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and drank the liquid in one gulp. The liquid was a little salty and had a hint of sourness. The strong smell of blood instantly filled Tang San's sense of taste and smell. Tang Hao looked at him and said indifferently, This is a cup of human blood. What? Tang San's face instantly turned pale. In the next moment, he could not help but turn his head to the side and vomit. The violent vomiting broke the silence in the tavern and attracted the attention of all the customers. Laughter rang out. Where did this fledgling come from? Go back home. This is not a place for you. You can't even handle a cup of Bloody Mary, and you want to be qualified to enter? Haha, go home and drink milk from your mother. All kinds of filthy voices filled the tavern. The customers seemed to have found a vent in their depression and did not hold back at all to attack Tang San. Even after spitting out everything in his stomach, he was still unable to completely erase the bloody smell. Tang San almost vomited out his bile. Bang! The sound of the door opening was heard. Everyone's gaze once again turned to the door. However, in an instant everyone was stunned. Tang San and Tang Hao were also stunned. This was because a 13-year-old girl with long purple hair and wearing a black trench coat appeared. She was about 1.6 meters tall and was very beautiful and cute. She was the kind of person who would want to have sex with her as soon as they saw her. On her left waist was a 90-centimeter long katana with a handle. The scabbard had a blood-red pattern. She held a note in her right hand. She lowered her head to look at the note and muttered, "This should be the place. The smell of blood is really strong." She put away the note and strode into the tavern. Everyone stared at the girl with lustful gazes, except for Tang Hao and his son. At this moment, they were all frowning, not because she was young, but because the clothes she was wearing were exactly the same as Tang Yu's. However, that was not important. Dolo was so big and there were many clothes that were the same. The important thing was that for some reason, Tang San and Tang Hao felt a strong sense of danger from this little girl. Tang San and Tang Hao could not help but be moved. The girl chose a seat and sat down. She just so happened to sit next to Tang San. "Waiter," peeking at the note, "give me a cup of Bloody Mary." Silence. A moment of silence. Everyone thought that they had misheard. A girl who was not even 12 years old wanted to drink Bloody Mary? Even Tang San and Tang Hao could not help but be moved. Tang San had just tasted it. "Little girl, did you go to the wrong place?" The waiter's face was full of sweat. "Cut the crap. Hurry up. I still want to enter the city of massacre. Hurry up. Stop wasting time." The girl was impatient and directly exploded with vulgarities. Everyone was speechless. What a valiant girl. The waiter shook his head helplessly. He brought a cup of Bloody Mary and placed it next to the girl. Everyone was ready to watch a joke. However, in the next second everyone was stunned. The girl directly drank the Bloody Mary in one gulp. Everyone's eyes widened, especially Tang San. Tang San suddenly had the urge to bang his head against the wall. F***ck. Tang San, oh Tang San. Look at you. Even a little girl is stronger than you. You're too F***king embarrassing. After the girl finished drinking, she pursed her lips and then said, "I don't feel anything. Hey, is this Bloody Mary a fake? Master clearly told me that Bloody Mary is a mixture of vodka, tomato juice, lemon slices, celery root, and chili oil. Why did you add human blood in it? Why? Little bastard, are you F***king looking down on me?" At the end of her words, she directly slammed the table and stood up, pointing at the waiter and scolding. Everyone was stunned. Was this something a 13-year-old girl should say? However, this child could actually taste the human blood in it and still remain so calm. Tang San was also speechless. What kind of sharp-tongued and shameless master taught such a sharp-tongued and shameless disciple? Somewhere. Achoo! Humph! It must be that brat who's scolding me. Sigh. Don't blame your master. Only in this way can your saber profound reach a higher level. Back at the tavern, our Bloody Mary originally added human blood, tomato juice, lemon slices, and celery root. As for vodka, what is that? The waiter stuttered. You don't know about vodka? The girl was shocked. Everyone around them was puzzled. What is vodka? Everyone shook their heads. Even Tang San and Tang Hao were puzzled. They had never heard of vodka. Vodka is a bottle of wine. That's what my master told me. Don't you have it here? The girl asked. The waiter shook his head. F***ck. So F***king poor. There isn't even a bottle of vodka. The young girl took out a wine glass from nowhere and then a wine bottle. There was colorless and transparent wine in the wine bottle. She poured a glass and drank it herself, but her face didn't turn red at all. She even waved the wine bottle in front of everyone and showed off. This is vodka. It's a good wine that my master brewed himself. Vodka isn't sweet, bitter, or astringent. It only has a flame-like excitement, which is the unique characteristic of this wine. Poor people. Are you jealous? Everyone was shocked. There was actually such a wine? Even Tang Hao was shocked. He muttered, I've roamed the continent for decades, but I've never heard of this wine. It looks delicious. Sigh. What a bunch of ignorant natives. The girl sighed. The girl said it very calmly, as if she was stating a fact. However, the girl's words instantly aroused the dissatisfaction of the burly men. Little girl, you're so arrogant. You think you're so great after drinking Bloody Mary? Hee. I don't know how good you are in bed. You little brat. Do you want to try my sausage? A bunch of obscene voices rang out in an instant. The girl was surrounded by dozens of people. You're excited? Natives will always be natives. You're angry after a little mockery. Uncle, help me hold this bottle of vodka. The girl handed the vodka to Tang Hao. Tang Hao also subconsciously took it. Tang Hao and Tang San were also speechless at the unruly girl. She actually provoked public anger. Little girl, come home with Uncle. Uncle will give you sausage. Ha! Come on. Uncle will bring you to eat mushrooms. A bunch of lewd words rang out. The corner of the girl's mouth curled up. She said something very strange. You guys are the strangers and perverted uncles that Master mentioned, right? Those people were stunned. In the end, they said, yes. So what? Let's go. They rushed toward the girl. Master once said that if any perverted uncles or strangers come to hit on me, I can kill them, the girl said slowly. Since you guys are, then go to hell. Her right hand slowly tightened around the hilt of the knife. She closed her eyes and made a motion of drawing the knife. Meanwhile, Tang San was about to save the girl. He was not a nosy person, but for some reason, he had to save her. It seemed that if he did not do so, he would definitely regret it in the future. However, he was stopped by Tang Hao. Dad! Before Tang San could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Tang Hao. There's no need to save her. They are already dead. When Tang Hao finished speaking, his eyes were still filled with deep shock. Tang San looked at the dozens of people in front of him in disbelief. In an instant, a very sinister cut appeared on the chests of the dozens of people. Then, it was as if dozens of fountains had bloomed at the same time. It was a very spectacular sight. However, it was not water that was spurting out, but blood. Fortunately, they were 4 meters away from Tang San and the others. The blood did not splatter on them and the girl. The dozens of people were shocked. They widened their eyes and looked in horror at the girl who was only 4 meters away from them. The girl was still in the same motion of drawing the knife, but they saw that her eyes suddenly opened from the purplish-black color to a blood-red color. However, it was only for a moment before it closed again. It was as if that was the gaze of death. If everyone thought that she was a shameless little girl with a poisonous tongue before, then now, she was an out-and-out little devil. Ah! The dozens of people only knew how to scream now. They looked at the girl in horror. Before they fell to the ground, they spat out 2 words, devil. Then, they fell to the ground one after another and died of blood loss. Sword profundity, moon's reflection. The girl muttered. She slowly opened her eyes and sighed. It's still not as strong as Master. Hiss. Everyone in the surroundings sucked in a breath of air. This. Some people were actually trembling all over. Tang San's eyes were wide open because even if he used the purple demon eyes, he could not see how the girl made her move. Moreover, there was not the slightest fluctuation of soul power. In other words, the girl really used the knife to cut down these dozens of people in an instant. Was this really something that could be done with a knife? No, in his previous life, there seemed to be people who could use a knife to kill people without moving. However, it was only one person and not a group. How could he not be shocked? Tang Hao was also shocked. He did not see how the girl pulled out the knife at all. Moreover, there was not the slightest fluctuation of soul power. The reason why he knew that they were already dead was because he felt that their vitality was quickly draining away. Everyone's gaze turned to the girl who had already opened her eyes. However, no one dared to look down on her anymore because this girl was a ruthless character. The girl walked toward Tang Hao and took the vodka from his hand. She poured 2 cups and handed them to Tang Hao and Tang San. "Thank you for taking care of the vodka for me, uncle. Also, thank you for helping me just now, brother. But Ling Yu is very strong." "Ling Yu, a very nice name," Tang San said. This girl was Ling Yu, Tang Yu's first disciple, he. "Thank you for the compliment, big brother. Hurry up and drink the vodka. Big brother, you guys are going to enter the city of massacre, right?" Ling Yu smiled mischievously. It was very charming. If not for the fact that Tang San already had Xiao Wu, he might have been charmed by her. They nodded and drank the vodka together. It was not sweet, bitter, or astringent, only a fiery excitement. What a good drink! Both of them praised at the same time. Ling Yu put the vodka into the starlight sapphire ring on her left ring finger. Tang Yu gave it to her. At that time, Ling Yu almost thought that he wanted to marry her. Then, she walked to the bar counter, turned around, waved her left hand, and said, "Then let's meet in the city of massacre. Big brother, you are a good person." Then, she smashed her fist on the bar counter, shocking the waiters. Boom! The bar counter shattered into pieces and flew in all directions, revealing the ground. Ling Yu punched again. Boom! Simple and violent. A huge hole appeared on the ground, and a cold wind blew up from the hole. "The entrance is here," she muttered. Then, she jumped down, leaving Tang San and the people around him in a daze. After that, Tang San quickly rushed into the tunnel. Tang Hao also hurriedly followed. Tang Hao came over and asked, "What's wrong?" "Starlight Sapphire. It's the Starlight Sapphire. She must be related to Light Rain. Could it be her master?" Tang San's face was full of surprise. Then, he looked at everyone in the tavern. "Must I kill to enter?" After that, Tang San walked out of the tunnel and found a large group of black armored knights lying on the ground. There were actually knife marks on their bodies. They were still breathing, but their voices were trembling. "Devil! Devil! Devil!" Tang San was stunned. Did she do it? He looked at the city and sensed his own body. "Can't I use soul skills?" Tang San frowned slightly. However, he returned in an instant. Then, he walked into the city of massacre. Ling Yu walked on the streets of the inner city. Beside her was a girl in a black veil. Ling Yu looked around. The inner city was extremely chaotic. There were excited laughter, painful cries, and many hair-raising sounds everywhere. Looking around, in a corner on the left, an extremely tall and muscular man was pulling a voluptuous woman's hair in his hand and thrusting his lower body forcefully. He was venting his lust in public. A group of people surrounded him, but they were all cheering for him. On the other side, 3 or 4 people were wildly beating a young man. Ling Yu watched as one of the young man's arms was removed. The person who removed his arm was still holding the severed arm and chewing it. "It's really as Master said. This is a paradise for wild beasts," Ling Yu said indifferently. However, the disgust in her eyes was hard to hide. The girl in a black veil beside her suddenly said in a deep voice, "Miss 9528, are you challenging the authority of the King of Massacre? If so, the great King of Massacre will definitely erase you from here. Since you are here, you must obey." She didn't finish her words. Swoosh! The sound of a sword being unsheathed. The girl in a black veil was stunned. Her eyes glanced at the katana that was placed on her neck. "Remember, when you talk to me, pay attention," This is the first time. If there is a second time, even if the King of Massacre comes, I will still kill him. Do you think I am really afraid of that King of Massacre? A cold voice sounded. It was Ling Yu who spoke. You. The girl in a black veil clenched her teeth. However, her body was trembling. She felt that this girl seemed to really dare to do anything. At this moment, everyone seemed to have noticed Ling Yu. Yo! Another beautiful girl. A burly man's eyes were filled with lust. The burly man used to be a sole doloa in the outside world, and he was also very lecherous. After that, he messed around with too many women, so he fell to this place, and he had harmed countless young women. F***ck. There was a sound of something breaking through the air. The burly man's head was moved. There was no scream. Really, don't make such an expression in front of me. I'm so bored. Trash. Hey. Hurry up and take me to the hell killing field. There is so much trash here. It's so disgusting. Ling Yu said in disgust. The last sentence was said while looking at the girl in a black veil. Ling Yu was walking when suddenly, there was a commotion in front of her. There were at least dozens of people surrounding there, and there were continuous screams coming from them. A stream of blood suddenly came out from inside. The onlookers automatically made a path. 2 figures slowly walked out from inside. Thank you, one person said to the other. This person was Tang San. Are you new here? There is danger at every step here. It's better to be careful. Looking at your appearance, you don't seem to be a fallen one. This person was a girl. She was dressed in black. Her long hair was neatly combed behind her back and tied with a rope. She held a short sword that was more than a foot long in her hand. She was actually Tang San's old acquaintance, Hulaina. After saying that, they were about to leave. However, 10 burly men appeared and surrounded the 2 of them. F***ck. There's no end to this. Hulaina curled her lips. But at this time, hey! Uncle's in front, get out of my way! When Tang San heard this voice, his whole body trembled. This voice is... The burly men looked behind them. However, when they saw it, F***ck. The heads of the 10 burly men were moved. There was no scream. Everyone was shocked, including Hulaina, because she only saw a 13-year-old little loli holding a knife in her hand. Yo, big brother, I haven't seen you for a long time. Ling Yu greeted Tang San. Tang San smiled bitterly and said, We've just met before. Ah. Ha. Is that so? Ha. Ling Yu scratched her head and laughed. You know each other? Hulaina asked. Yes. Big brother's father even took care of vodka for me. Ling Yu revealed her cute canine teeth and said. Tang San was speechless. A year later, Tang San, Hulaina, and Ling Yu became celebrities in the Hell's killing field. They could already be ranked in the top 10 of the killing field. 67 wins, this was Tang San's current result. In the entire Hell's killing field, there were only 2 people who had better results than him. One was Hulaina, who had 72 wins. The other was Ling Yu, who had 79 wins. To be honest, Ling Yu didn't change much. She just became more beautiful and her figure became more alluring. Also, she became too calm. There was no killing intent on her body at all. She was really too calm. No matter who she faced, she was abnormally calm, so calm that it was scary. Chapter 24. Time passed by as he waited and cultivated. Unknowingly, 2 years had passed. Tang San sat cross-legged in his small house. His whole body was constantly emitting waves of chills. The huge murderous aura constantly revolved around his body and affected him. When Tang San completed the 99th match in the Hell Slaughterhouse, he faintly felt that he was about to lose control of the murderous aura in his body. At the same time, he also understood why Hulaina had already reached 99 victories and had delayed the 100th match. Bam, bam, bam. There was a series of knocks on the door. Martial uncle. Are you there? Ling Yu is here to see you, a pleasant young girl's voice was heard. Tang San's murderous aura instantly dissipated. He smiled helplessly. This little devil is here again. Creak. The door opened and a figure rushed out from behind the door. It was a beautiful young girl who was about 15 years old. She had purplish black hair and pupils. She wore a black trench coat with black tights and pants. On the left side of her waist was a 90-centimeter-long katana. She stared at him with a smile. You little devil! Why are you here again? Tang San smiled bitterly. In front of Tang San was Tang Yu's first disciple, Ling Yu. As early as a year ago, Tang San had asked Ling Yu about her master. In the end, Ling Yu found out that her master had an older brother. Although he was not her biological brother, he was better than her biological brother. After that, Ling Yu directly recognized Tang San as her martial uncle. She even said to the outside world, "In the future, those who dare to have designs on Shura King, be careful. This devil will not forgive him." This made Tang San feel helpless. He actually had to be protected by his own martial niece. It was really embarrassing. However, Tang San was also quite happy because Light Rain did not die and even took in a monstrous disciple. "I'm here to see you, martial uncle. I brought Master's favorite vodka. I wonder if Master likes it?" The girl took out a bottle of vodka and 2 glasses from the Starlight Sapphire and waved them in front of Tang San. "Give me a cup," Tang San said helplessly. Ever since the arrival of this little demon king, he felt that the entire world had been thrown into chaos. However, it was precisely because of this chaos that it was lively. At least, it was more interesting than cultivating alone. Bang, bang, bang. While the two of them were drinking vodka, another series of knocks came from the door. "Who is it?" Tang San put down his glass and frowned. Ling Yu made a gesture of drawing her sword. "It's me." A pleasant voice came from outside the door. Although Tang San hadn't heard this voice many times, he could still recognize the owner of the voice as Hu Laina. Frowning, Tang San thought to himself, "Why is she here? Is Martial Ant here?" Ling Yu whispered with a gossipy face. However, Tang San still heard it. "Don't talk nonsense. She's not your Martial Ant," Tang San whispered. Then, he said to the door, "Come in." The door opened and Hu Laina, who was dressed in black, walked in from outside. Her face looked extremely pale. She was holding a glass of Bloody Mary and drinking it slowly. This seemed to have become a habit of the strong people in Massacre City. Other than Tang San and Ling Yu, almost all the fallen ones who had more than 10 victories in Massacre City would often drink blood from unknown sources. However, Ling Yu and Tang San had vodka to drink, eh? "You're not the only one here. The Devil King is here too." Hu Laina was a little surprised. The Devil King's reputation had shocked the entire Massacre City. Of course, Hu Laina had seen her before. She was a young girl who had yet to reach adulthood. This made her very shocked because this young girl didn't look like a fallen one at all. Instead, she looked like a young girl who lived under the sun. If she hadn't seen her killing method with her own eyes, she would have thought that she was a harmless little girl. Now, the legendary Devil King was drinking with the Shura King? Wine. They actually brought their own wine. Hu Laina's face was filled with disbelief. "Do you want a glass?" Ling Yu waved the vodka in front of her. "A way to leave Massacre City?" Tang San was shocked. Ling Yu also became serious. "Yes." Hu Laina put down the empty glass. Not bad, the exit of Massacre City, boom." A purple-haired girl soared into the sky at an extremely fast speed. She was dragging 2 unconscious people in her hand. The girl was Ling Yu. The 2 people in her hands were Tang San and Hu Laina. On Ling Yu's back, there was a pair of blood-red wings with a wingspan of 6 meters. They constantly flapped to stabilize her body, just like the wings of a bat. External soul bone, devil wings. With the ability to fly, The limit of her speed during the day was 1,000 kilometers per second. However, at night, her speed was 100 times faster than during the day. She kept gasping for breath. Huff, huff, huff. Finally out. Her vision began to blur. Lingyu began to fall slowly. Before she lost consciousness, she saw a blue-haired black-clothed youth flying towards her. Tang San didn't know how much time had passed, but when he woke up from the pain, he felt like he was in a dream. His body was lying in a patch of blue-silver grass, and these blue-silver grass were sending a faint trace of warmth and nourishment into his body. All the pain had disappeared, and there was only a comfortable feeling in his body. The familiar soul power undulations and the feeling of a soul skill once again filled his body. When he wanted to turn over and sit up, Tang San realized that his left hand was a little heavy. When he turned his head, he saw that he was actually holding the clear sky hammer in his left hand. When he saw the clear sky hammer, he was sure that he was definitely not dreaming. On the clear sky hammer, there was an additional white pattern at the tip of the hammer. Those patterns looked like the blood patterns on the Hell Massacre grounds when the Hell Road was activated. However, they were much smaller and white. When he tried to feel the white pattern, in an instant, a surge of white light quietly spread out. The white light was released from the clear sky hammer, but very quickly, the white light became colorless. Tang San's perception of the surrounding world immediately changed. Even the blue-silver grass, which was the closest to him, was trembling in the invisible air current. Massacre God Domain. Was this the Massacre God Domain? Tang San knew that he should be happy, but he had just left a place like the City of Massacre, so he couldn't feel happy. 2 years of hell-like tempering had greatly affected his state of mind. At this moment, a formless killing intent suddenly approached, as if something invisible had collided heavily with the Massacre God Domain that Tang San had released. Tang San's body trembled, and he quickly turned his body to look in that direction. A few dozen meters away, a beautiful figure stood there. He didn't know when she was already dressed neatly, and her perfect body was wrapped in her clothes. She was also looking at him, and her eyes flickered with an indescribable emotion. She woke up before me? Tang San looked around again, and didn't see Lingyu. It seems like she woke up before me and Hulaina. Do you feel it? We have the same innate domain. Hulaina's voice echoed in Tang San's ears. Tang San didn't speak, and only looked at her quietly. I've placed my life in your hands once, and you've also placed your life in my hands once. Are we even? Hulaina finally walked in front of Tang San. She stopped when she was only a meter away from Tang San, and the gaze she looked at Tang San with became incomparably gentle. The one who brought us out in the end was Lingyu, he said faintly. So what? I've placed my life in your hands, not hers. Originally, I wanted to thank her, but I haven't seen her until now. Maybe she woke up earlier than me, Hulaina said with a smile. Tang San didn't speak, and only looked at her quietly. A trace of sadness appeared on Hulaina's beautiful face. She looked at Tang San, and a trace of helplessness appeared on her charming face. Why am I from the Martial Soul Palace, and you from the Clear Sky Sect? Hulaina raised her hands and naturally placed them on Tang San's shoulders. She further closed the distance between herself and Tang San. Her sad eyes were undoubtedly filled with a strong temptation, and her whole body fell into Tang San's arms. However, her action was not completed, because Tang San's hand held her shoulder. The Killing God Domain and the Clear Sky Hammer were put away at the same time, and Tang San looked at Hulaina indifferently. Hulaina smiled sadly. Do you really have a heart of stone? Tang San's gaze became gentler. It was undeniable that the woman in front of him was so perfect, but in his heart, there was no room for another woman. Moreover, the woman in front of him and her were people from 2 different worlds. After getting up, he left without looking back. Hulaina looked at the figure in the distance, and tears fell. This was the first time she shed tears for a man. After a long time, when she couldn't see Tang San's figure anymore, she wiped her tears and left. Tang San checked himself and found a note in his pocket. When he saw the words on it, his body suddenly trembled, and he was so emotional that he almost shed tears. The note said, "I'm taking Ling Yu with me. See you in 2 years. Third brother, light rain, this little bastard. 2 years later, you'll be in for it." Tang San wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes and scolded with a smile. Somewhere 1,000 meters in the sky, a 100-meter-long giant emerald dragon was flying, and 2 people were standing on top of it. One of them was Ling Yu, and the other was, of course, Tang Yu. "How's the harvest in these 2 years?" Tang Yu looked ahead and asked. However, Ling Yu knew that he was talking to her. She quickly lowered her head and cupped her hands, reporting to Master, "Mirror still water, tranquility, is the profound meaning. Catoptric deflection, mirage, is the profound meaning." She was very nervous. This was what she had comprehended in 2 years. She was afraid that if she was wrong, she would embarrass her master. However, after a long time, Tang Yu didn't make a move. Ling Yu was very puzzled, but she didn't dare to raise her head to look at Tang Yu. If she did, she would definitely see a trace of a smile at the corner of Tang Yu's mouth. "Although I haven't comprehended it to the highest level, I've gone one step further. I still have to work harder," he secretly said. Then, he looked at Shrek's direction. "There are still 2 years left. Damn. 10,000 people went, and it was a sneak attack, but the loss was twice the opponents. Is the 7 Treasures Glazed sect really that strong?" The members of the Martial Soul Palace kept quiet out of fear. No one dared to make a sound, lest they infuriate the Pope. "Continue to report." "Yes. We sent 8,000 people to attack the Tyrannosaurus family without being discovered. The Tyrannosaurus family was completely wiped out. No one survived. We lost 3,000 people. Among them, the 9th elder perished together with the sect master. Their remains have been transported back." Bibi Dong slowly stood up and paced around the hall. His eyes flashed. "Good, the upper 3 gates. The 7 Treasures Glazed sect and the Tyrannosaurus family are indeed old sects. They actually made me lose more than 8,000 people. Master, don't be angry. There are bound to be losses when there are gains." 2 of the upper 3 gates were destroyed, and the Clear Sky sect is nowhere to be found. The thorn in our side has been removed, although it seems that the losses are not small. However, this is enough to have a strong deterrent effect on the 2 empires. In comparison, they don't dare to act rashly. Let's continue to accumulate strength and proceed according to the original plan. Then, the 2 empires will definitely be infiltrated by us. However, we have to be careful of them. Hu Laina said. She then sighed, "AI. If that sect is willing to join forces with the Martial Soul Palace, we can definitely." "That's impossible. The people in that sect are a bunch of lunatics. They only do things based on their own preferences. They won't help us," Bibi Dong said seriously. The sect they were referring to was none other than the Body sect, a reclusive sect. "Oh right. Chrysanthemum Doloa and Ghost Doloa have been gone for so long. How's the news?" The red-robed bishop said, "We haven't received any news yet. The Great Star Doe Forest is the continent's largest soul beast forest. I'm sure the 2 of you will need some time to search." Bibi Dong nodded and said, "Order the Heaven Doe City's Martial Soul Palace to restrain themselves. Don't act rashly. Monitor the movements of the Heaven Doe Empire and the 7 Treasures Glazed sect at all times. Report back immediately if anything happens. The soul hunt has come to an end. Next, we should begin our infiltration plan. Everything will proceed according to the original plan." "Yes. The Great Star Doe Forest. Xiao Wu, let's go." Tang San shouted as he flung a strand of blue-silver grass towards Xiao Wu. Yuhao's movements were simply too quick. By the time Xiao Wu noticed what was happening, countless poisonous needles had already shot out and killed 6 soul sages. Even though Tang San's appearance and aura had changed, there were still many things that wouldn't change. Xiao Wu didn't resist at all. She allowed the blue-silver grass to wrap around her slender waist. Her long legs sprang up as she charged towards Tang San. "Big brother!" A sharp cry of grief erupted from Xiao Wu's mouth. That sharp voice seemed to cause the entire Great Star Dove forest to tremble. Xiao Wu's entire body had already turned red. It was a sparkling and translucent dark red. The clothes on her body had already turned into ashes and disappeared, revealing her perfect and translucent body. Her skin was as translucent as a ruby. No one could see her. This was because everyone's consciousness had stopped at this moment. She casually waved her hand, and the blue-silver emperor's right leg bone landed in her hand. It quietly landed in front of Tang San. Large drops of blood tears gently dripped onto Tang San's chest. Gently hugging Tang San, Xiao Wu's voice whispered into his ear, "Brother, you're really so silly. Do you think I'll be able to live on by myself if you die? I don't want you to die. I want you to live. I really want to live with you, just like before. But I can't. I'm not here anymore. You have to take care of yourself. Otherwise, I'll be sad." She lowered her head and gently kissed his lips. She held Tang San's right hand and pulled out the broken limb of the 8-spider spear that was inserted into his heart. Because everything was still, there was no blood spurting out. Red flames began to burn on Xiao Wu's body. It wasn't fire, but an extremely special blood flame. And what was burning was Xiao Wu's blood, life, and 100,000 years of cultivation. This was a sacrifice. At this moment, two figures suddenly appeared in front of Xiao Wu and Tang San. "I can't hold it in anymore. Yuhao, hurry up!" One of the figures roared. "Yes." The other figure began to chant a strange incantation. A hexagram array appeared beneath Xiao Wu and Tang San's feet. Chapter 25. In the south of the city, Tang San and Tang Yu stopped in front of a mansion. The gate of the mansion was more than 6 meters tall, and there were 2 stone statues in front of the gate. The stone statues were in the shape of gorillas, and they looked like miniature versions of Ming. 2 burly men stood in front of the gate. They were more than 2 meters tall, and their black robes could not hide their strong muscles. They stood there like 2 door gods, looking valiantly and proudly at the passers-by on the street outside. There was a plaque hanging above the gate of the mansion, and there was only one word written on it: strength. "This is the place," Tang San murmured. They strode forward and stopped in front of the gate. "Please inform Senior Titan that an old friend has come to visit." The 2 brawny men looked at Tang San expressionlessly, sizing him up a few times. One of them said in a low, muffled voice, "Wait a moment." After that, he turned around, pushed open the door, and walked in. After a while, the gate of the Strength Clan mansion opened again, and a middle-aged man walked out. The biggest characteristic of the Strength Clan was that they were tall and strong, and this middle-aged man was no exception. Tang San had never seen him before. When this man came out, he looked at Tang San and the others with a puzzled expression. "Why are you looking for our clan leader?" Tang San did not say anything. He flipped his left hand, and the clear sky hammer appeared in his hand as black light surged. This time, Tang San did not suppress the aura of the clear sky hammer in the slightest. Immediately, a tyrannical aura spread out. Under his control, a thick energy fluctuation spread out within a few meters of the door. "Uncle, do you recognize my martial soul? Clear sky hammer?" The middle-aged man was shocked. The expression on his face became nervous. "Please come in." Even the way he addressed them became respectful. Young master? People? It's you." Titan was in disbelief. "Yo. Long time no see. Your strength has reached 88. Just a little bit more and I'll reach 89. Tang Yu nodded. His tone was like that of a senior talking to a junior. However, the 3 of them were not angry. After all, Tang Yu had helped Titan before. Most importantly, they were no match for him. After that, Tang San explained his origin. He wanted to establish the Tangmen and needed the help of the Li clan. Of course, Titan agreed without hesitation. He even set his address as the new address of the Tangmen. Under Tang Yu's arrangement, the Li clan became a hall of the Tangmen. It was called the Li clan, and its main job was forging. Titan was the hall master. Tang San and the others were also very satisfied. After that, Titan went to meet with the leaders of the other 3 tribes. Tang San and the others naturally had to go with him. The Clear Sky sect owes them. Let me compensate them, Tang San said. It's not you, it's us. Tang Yu patted Tang San's shoulder. The next morning, everyone went on their way. Ma Hongjun followed them. Longxing City, 2 carriages stopped outside a big house. When Tang San and the others got down from the carriage and looked at the gate of the house, they could not help but be surprised. The house looked very similar to the mansion of the Li clan. The only difference was that the plaque hanging on the gate had the word Yu. Titan smiled and said, the architectural design of the 4 tribes was done by the Yuji clan. So it's very similar. Although the whole building looks rough, there are actually many mechanisms suitable for defense hidden inside. The Yuji clan's talent in architecture is not inferior to our Li clan's talent in forging. It's still the same as 2 years ago, Tang Yu suddenly said. The few of them instantly shifted their gaze to him. Why are you looking at me? 2 years ago, when I was traveling the continent with Ling Yu, we often came here as guests. Although we were always the ones who barged in. Tang Yu spread his hands and said. Everyone could only keep quiet about this. When the 2 burly gatekeepers saw Tang Yu, they hurriedly came over and said respectfully, Welcome, Senior. We are honored by your presence. He did not dare to be disrespectful. After all, 2 years ago, this person had openly barged into the Yu clan several times and asked for some food. Even the Lord Patriarch could not withstand a single punch from him. He could only watch as this person and his cute disciple each carried 2 sacks of food and left. Before he left, he even said, I will be back. They did not pursue the matter of them barging into the house. After all, they did not have the ability to do so. They did not expect that he would come again 2 years later. Big Rhino, I'm here again. Tang Yu directly shouted into the house. Even Tai Tan was startled when he heard Tang Yu directly call him Old Rhinoceros. That strong man also laughed bitterly. It was likely that there were not many people who dared to call the tribe leader Old Rhinoceros in such a manner. Boom! A figure rushed out of the door and appeared in front of everyone. It was an old man who was only half a head shorter than Tai Tan. His face was red like a date, and his short hair that was like steel needles had already turned white. His face was rosy, and his eyes were bright and full of expression. His shoulders were extremely wide, and he was the patriarch of the Yuji clan, Niu Gao. Now, he was carrying 6 sacks, and they seemed to be filled with food. Then, he placed the sacks in front of Tang Yu and pleaded helplessly, Senior, please don't be like this. This much food should be enough for you to eat for a long time, right? Please don't come here so often in the future, Senior. You can even go and wreak havoc in other places. When Tang San and the others saw this scene, they were all shocked. What did Tang Yu do to them in the past? Could it be that they looted their granary? Take the food back. I'm here today to do business. Look who he is. Tang Yu pointed at Titan. Niu Gao looked to the side and was shocked. Damn! Old gorilla. Long time no see. Old rhino. Titan laughed. There was a hint of mockery in his laughter. Was your place also robbed by this senior? Niu Gao whispered. What nonsense are you talking about? He's my benefactor. He cured my hidden illness. Titan said. Hey, shouldn't we go in first and catch up? Tang Yu said helplessly. Yes. Let's go in first. In the hall, Niu Gao left his seat for Tang Yu. Of course, Tang Yu would not refuse. He sat there directly, picked up the teacup beside him, and took a sip gently. Niu Gao sat beside him. Tai Long did not sit at the head of the guest table. Instead, he gave the seat to Tang San. He and Ma Hongjun sat below. His action immediately attracted Niu Gao's attention. To be able to become the patriarch, it was not enough to have tyrannical strength. Niu Gao's personality was similar to Titan's. When he saw Tai Long's action, he could not help but ask Titan, "Old gorilla, you haven't introduced me yet. Who is this young man who is as beautiful as a girl? Oh, and that fatso. This is not the style of your tribe of strength." Titan was about to say something, but Tang San was faster. Tang San stood up and bowed slightly to Niu Gao. "Senior Niu Gao, hello. I am Tang San." Niu Gao was stunned and asked uncertainly, "Your surname is Tang?" Tang San did not hide it and said, "Yes, my surname is indeed Tang. My father is Tang Hao." "What?" Hearing this, Niu Gao could no longer sit still. He suddenly stood up from his seat, and his originally smiling face instantly darkened. "Which Tang Hao?" Tang San said calmly, "His title is Haotian." Instantly, Niu Gao's face became even gloomier. At this moment, Tang Yu put down his teacup and instantly stood up. He pressed a hand on Niu Gao's shoulder and made him sit back down. "You'd better be quiet. Listen to my brother." His voice was already a little cold. That hand suddenly exerted a little force, and pain instantly spread throughout his body. Fortunately, Niu Gao's skin was thick. Brother? Niu Gao was shocked. "Light Rain, don't do that. Quickly give up." Tang San hurriedly stopped him. Tang Yu let go, sat back down, and picked up the teacup with his right hand. "I'm sorry. Senior, it's Light Rain's fault. Please forgive him." Tang San apologized to Niu Gao. Niu Gao was stunned. He pressed his shoulder that was almost deformed by Tang Yu and said, "It's all right. It's my fault for being too nervous. You can continue." Would he dare to blame him? He would be looking for trouble if he did. Tang San nodded at him and bowed deeply. "Senior Niu Gao, I apologize for the trouble that Haotian sect and my father brought to the 4 major clans. I know that this kind of apology doesn't mean anything. This time, I followed Senior Titan here in hopes of finding a way to make up for the 4 major clans. However, this time, I'm only here to represent myself and my father. This has nothing to do with Haotian sect. I can't promise you what I can do for the 4 great clans. If it's just empty words, not only will you not believe them, even I will feel that it's not convincing. However, I hope that you can give me a chance. Let me stay here and participate in this gathering. I don't want the Yuji clan to look at me as if I'm their enemy." Niu Gao listened attentively. After listening to him, he was silent for a while. Then, he suddenly released his aura and pressed it on Tang San. It was not that he was bold, but Tang Yu had told him through a mental link that he would not interfere too much and that he could do whatever he wanted. That was why he did it. However, when Niu Gao's powerful aura landed on Tang San's body, the enormous pressure seemed to be cut into 2 by Tang San's body. It slid past him and did not have any effect on him. Niu Gao was stunned. He looked at Tang San in surprise. As expected of Tang Hao's son. "You can withstand my aura. How old are you this year?" Tang San smiled faintly. "Almost 21 years old." Niu Gao's expression changed again. He was obviously shocked by Tang San's age. He turned to look at Tang Yu. Tang Yu smiled at him, then continued drinking his tea. Niu Gao looked at Tang San again and said, "All right, you can stay if you want. You can stay here. If you can withstand my aura for the time it takes to burn an incense stick without destroying anything, then you can stay here. I'll let you stay for the gathering. I'll explain to the other 2 old guys." "Are you serious?" The one who spoke was not Tang San, but Titan. At that moment, a smile appeared on his face. Niu Gao looked at Titan's smile and suddenly felt his hair stand on end. He said to Titan unhappily, I, old Niu, am also the leader of a clan. Do you think I'll go back on my words? Titan chuckled and said, Good. Very good. Very good. Looks like I won't be leaving today. I'll drink all your wine tonight. Niu Gao snorted unhappily. Old chimpanzee, are you that confident in him? My soul power has improved over the past 2 years. Although I can't compare to you, I'm at rank 85. How old is he? I said he could last for the time it takes to burn an incense stick. Titan smiled mysteriously and said, You'll know when you try. I guarantee that you won't know until you try. You'll be shocked once you try. Old rhinoceros, don't blame me for not reminding you. Tang San is unparalleled among the younger generation of the Clear Sky sect. His talent is even greater than his father's. He's the leader of the 3rd generation of the Clear Sky sect. He's a strong contender for the next Clear Sky sect leader. Boom! With a loud bang, Niu Gao, who was possessed by his martial soul, flew out like a cannonball. His mountain-like body flew out in an instant and slammed straight into the wall of the hall, creating a human-shaped hole in the wall. Tang Yu, who was sitting at the head of the table, slowly placed his teacup back to its original position and sighed. What a sin! However, I seem to have used too much strength. With such a huge commotion, the entire imperial race was alarmed. At least 20 people rushed in from outside, and all of them were very strong. The person in the lead looked very similar to Niu Gao, but he was much younger. He saw Tang Yu sitting at the head of the table and Titan pouring his soul power into Tang San once he entered the hall. Say, Senior, you're here. The strong man and everyone behind him hurriedly bowed to Tang Yu. After that, the strong man bowed to Titan and said, Uncle Tai, you're here too. Why isn't my father here? What was that sound just now? Titan looked at Tang San, and his expression became very strange. He was here as a guest, but he blasted the master of the Clear Sky sect into the wall and even smashed him out. Tai Long whispered to Tang San. He's called Niu Ben. He's the eldest son of Niu Gao's grandfather. He's also good friends with my father. His talent is much stronger than my father's. His soul power cultivation should be about the same as young master's. At the hole, Niu Gao crawled in with his face covered in dust. His clothes were torn in many places, and his martial soul was retracted. However, the dust on his body and his strange expression made people want to laugh. He said softly, Damn it! I've really thrown my family's face away. After that, he patted the dust off his body and walked towards the hall. Niu Ben and the other Yu clan members looked at Niu Gao with their mouths agape. They were all stunned. Niu Ben even rubbed his eyes hard to make sure that he did not see wrongly. Say, Senior, how did my father offend you? Don't tell me that you're angry because my father didn't give you any food? Niu Ben looked at Tang Yu helplessly. To be able to punch Niu Gao from the hall to the wall outside and even create a hole, among those present, he only believed that Tang Yu had such strength. Tang Yu smiled and said, It's fine, it's fine. I just want to see if he's improved. Niu Gao looked at Tang Yu, then looked at Niu Ben and the rest. He said angrily, F***CK, who let you in? Can't you see that I'm catching up with Senior and Titan? Get lost. All of you get out. Okay. Dad, don't be angry. I'll get lost now. You guys continue. Continue. Don't stop. I'll go and prepare some food for you. Niu Ben quickly waved his hand and led the Yu clan members out. Titan praised, Niu Ben, this kid is much stronger than our Tai Nua. He's getting better at doing things. He hasn't inherited your bad temper yet. And, not bad. Not bad my ass. Niu Gao did not know where to put his face at this moment. He walked over angrily and patted the dust off his body. Although he was unwilling, he had to face Tang San. Good kid, you win. I used my martial soul just now, so I don't need to hit you with the third punch. I'm a man of my words. From now on, there's no more hatred between the Yu clan, your father, and you. Also, the Yu clan is willing to merge with the Tang men. Tang San smiled and said, Senior, you're too careless. That's why you let me win. If it was a normal battle, my opponent wouldn't have given me so much time to accumulate energy. Niu Gao snorted and said, All right, a loss is a loss. Do I look like someone who doesn't admit defeat? You'll stay this time. But, even if you don't fight, I think Senior will let you stay. Tang San said, I don't want to rely on my brother to complete everything for me. If that's the case, can I still be a disciple of the Clear Sky sect? Senior, let's do as we've agreed before. From now on, the Yu clan will be the Imperial Hall of the Tang men. Previously, the two of them had agreed that if Tang San won, Niu Gao would not only have to eliminate the hatred between him and Tang San, but he would also have to join the Tang men and become the hall master of the Imperial Hall. He would have freedom and rights. The main building. Niu Gao was a little annoyed and said, I know. Old rhinoceros, you should be calling the young master now. Ha! Titan laughed. Niu Gao ignored Titan's words and looked at Tang San again. Kid, what's your soul power rank? Tang San looked at the gloomy old man and respectfully replied, This junior soul force is at rank 66. A control-type soul emperor. Niu Gao was stunned. Control type? When did the Clear Sky Hammer become a control-type martial soul? Could it be? He suddenly thought of something and his eyes were filled with shock. Titan laughed and scolded, Hurry up and change your clothes. You're right. The young master is that one. Niu Gao looked at Tang San in shock and turned to leave after a while. As he walked, he muttered, Rank 66, 21 years old, rank 66. Is he still human? He even has twin martial souls. Just as Tang San and Titan Niu Gao were discussing matters while eating, a member of the Yuji tribe hurriedly walked in from outside. He quickly walked to Niu Gao's side and whispered a few words into his ear. Niu Gao's expression changed after hearing what he said. What are they doing here? Old Gorilla, the people from the Elephant Armor sect are here. Titan frowned. Which Elephant Armor sect member is here? Niu Gao stood up and said, Celestial Phenomenon Huyenjun is here personally. I have to give him some face. Titan said, All right, I'll accompany you to take a look. The two of them stood up and the younger generation followed behind them. That old bastard. If I had known, I would have crippled that arm of his. Tang Yu murmured. Then, she stood up and walked outside. Tang San did not care about his status. He walked together with Tai Long and Ma Hongjun and followed Tang Yu out. As soon as they entered the courtyard, everyone's eyes were immediately attracted by the 5 huge bodies. The person in the lead was about 70 years old and was at least 2.5 meters tall. Standing there, he looked like a mountain of flesh. His skin was dark and his eyes were as big as copper bells. There seemed to be a layer of special light on his dark skin. The only flaw was that his right hand was wrapped in a bandage. It was obvious that his hand was injured. He was the leader of the Elephant Armor sect, Celestial Phenomenon Huyenjun. The 4 people behind Huyenjun looked to be in their 60s. Their stature was only slightly inferior to Huyenjun's. Each of them had a reserved aura. The 5 of them stood there like 5 mountains. They were very powerful. Huyenjun and Niu Gao had known each other for a long time. When he saw Niu Gao walking out with the group, he laughed and walked up to him. Brother Niu, we haven't seen each other for a while. How are you? How have you been? Niu Gao smiled faintly and returned the greeting. My body is still strong. Celestial Phenomenon, why is your right hand injured? Huyenjun's expression immediately changed, but he quickly recovered and smiled. I was fighting with a strong soul beast and accidentally injured myself. But this is a small injury. It's nothing. He didn't see the strange expressions on Tang San and Ma Hongjuan's faces. He wanted to hide it, but Tang San and Ma Hongjun knew the truth. Wasn't the injury on his right hand caused by Tang Yu 5 years ago? Tang Yu had a funny expression hanging on her face. This guy was really shameless. How dare he call me a soul beast? Although I am now, Niu Gao said indifferently, may I know why celestial phenomenon is here? Huyen Jin laughed out loud and said, Big Brother Ox, you're in the wrong here. Don't tell me that you won't invite this brother inside to sit and talk? Oh, this big brother's body is so strong, may I know who you are? His gaze fell on Titan. Niu Gao said indifferently, This is my brother, Titan. Let's talk in the guest room. Huyen Jin's eyes showed a trace of surprise. So it's the boss of the Strength Tribe, Brother Titan. Good. It saves me a trip to Heaven Do City. Tang San and Tang Yu looked at each other. They knew what he was here for. Tang Yu looked at Tang San and made a throat-slitting gesture with his right hand. Tang San shook his head and whispered, Let's see first. Tang Yu nodded and then stared coldly at Huyen Jin. After entering the guest room, everyone took their seats. Tang San stood behind Titan naturally, and Tang Yu stood behind Niu Gao. Therefore, only the two family heads and celestial phenomenon could sit in the guest room. Niu Gao ordered someone to serve tea. He forced a smile and said to celestial phenomenon Huyen Jin, Brother Huyen, if you have something to say, just say it. We are all straightforward people. You don't visit a temple without a reason. Okay, straightforward. Huyen Jin didn't bother with formalities. Both of you should have heard about it. The Tyrannosaurus family was destroyed, and the 7 treasures glazed sect suffered heavy losses. The former 3 upper sect of the 7 great sects are now only in name. The current pope of the Martial Soul Palace has issued a decree that the 7 great sects' reselection will be held 1 year later. Niu Gao retorted, What does this have to do with us? My small Yuji family naturally doesn't have the strength to fight for these things. Celestial phenomenon Huyen Jin chuckled and said, I won't hide it from you. I have some thoughts about this reselection. No matter what, I have to snatch one of the 3 upper sects positions. That's why I came to visit you, hoping to gain your support. If our Elephant Armor sect can join forces with your Yuji family, who in the martial spirit world will be able to resist us? At the very least, we will be invincible. When the time comes, our status in the Martial Soul Palace will also rise. It won't be a problem for us to become a hegemon. As long as you agree, the position of Elephant Armor Sect's deputy sect chief will be yours. I will be on equal footing with you, what do you think? The more Niu Gao listened to Huyen Jin's words, the more gloomy his face became. Huyen Jin's words sounded dignified, but the underlying meaning was that he wanted to swallow up his Yuji family. This was already crossing Niu Gao's bottom line. Even Titan, who was standing at the side, was furious. A cold light flashed in Tang Yu's eyes. Old brother Huyen, could it be that you've forgotten who it was that forced us to flee like stray dogs? Almost causing us to lose our footing? Huyen Jin said, Brother Niu, so many years have passed. As the saying goes, there are no eternal enemies, only eternal benefit. Can't you see the Martial Soul Palace's strength clearly? Who in the world can go against the Martial Soul Palace? With your strength and the Yuji family's unique characteristics, as long as we walk the same path, the Yuji family's future is limitless. If you have any conditions, as long as I can fulfill them, I won't refuse. Even if I can't, there's still the Martial Soul Palace. There's only one condition, and that is, stand, horse, scram, bastard. A cold voice came from behind Niu Gao. Hearing the cold voice, the people from Elephant Armor Sect were the first to react. Everyone could tell that the words were directed at Huyen Jin. Next was Titan Niu Gao. They didn't expect Tang Yu to be so domineering as to tell Huyen Jin to scram. Finally, it was Tang San. He was helpless. Didn't we agree not to make a move so quickly? Hu Yanzhen glared at Tang Yu behind Niu Gao. He was slightly stunned. This junior is quite handsome, but why do I feel like I've seen him somewhere before? Tang Yu didn't look like he used to. Of course, Hu Yanzhen couldn't recognize him. He just felt like he had seen him somewhere before. Brother Niu, we're talking as elders. Can't you watch your juniors? Be careful of your words, Hu Yanzhen said coldly. His last sentence was directed at Tang Yu. Since this young man was standing behind Niu Gao, Hu Yanzhen naturally thought that he was a young and ignorant junior from the Yuji clan. He wouldn't blame him just like that. After all, the Yuji clan was going to take over the Yuji clan. After that, he would settle the score with this junior. After hearing what Hu Yanzhen said, Tang Yu didn't give him any face. Since he didn't give me any face, why should I give him any face? Tang Yu crossed his arms and sneered. Junior? I haven't seen you for 5 years. You've become quite bold. How dare you stand in front of me? I should have crippled your right hand the last time. You don't want your left hand anymore, do you? Do you believe that I'll beat you into a pig right now? Silence. Complete silence. Titan, Niu Gao, was feeling very good. They had always disliked Hu Yanzhen. However, since he had the Martial Soul Palace as his backing, they didn't dare to do anything to him. They had forgotten what Tang Yu's title was. Spirit Ice Shura. Others were afraid of the Martial Soul Palace, but he wasn't. Many people believed that if he wanted to destroy the Martial Soul Palace, he would definitely be able to do it. In fact, he really could do it. Hearing his words, Hu Yanzhen immediately became angry. However, in that instant, he suppressed his anger. Because, he was already looking at Tang Yu in shock. Those words just now, why did it sound so familiar? Someone had said the same sentence before. However, he thought that person was already dead. He immediately stood up from his seat and stared at Tang Yu with his eyes that were as deep as the universe. It was really him. He took 2 steps back and said in horror, No. Impossible. You're still alive? Even a pig like you is still alive. Why can't I be alive? Tang Yu slowly walked towards him. He didn't know why, but with every step he took, Hu Yanzhen felt the pain in his right hand getting worse. Was the old injury relapsing? No. He was afraid. He was so afraid that his right hand, which had been pinched by Tang Yu before, started to hurt again. Say, Senior. I didn't know you were here. Please forgive me for offending you. Hu Yanzhen immediately knelt in front of Tang Yu and begged for mercy. The 5 people behind him were also shocked. Their patriarch actually knelt in front of someone? And it was a young man? All of you, kneel down too! Hu Yanzhen turned his head and shouted at them. When the 5 of them heard Hu Yanzhen's words, they all knelt down together. Hu Yanzhen looked at Tang Yu and begged for mercy. Senior. Look, crack. A clear sound rang out, and everyone looked at Tang Yu in shock. That was because he was now grabbing Hu Yanzhen's left arm, and Hu Yanzhen's left arm had already been twisted 360 degrees by Tang Yu. Ah! Hu Yanzhen only knew how to scream now. I mean what I say. I said I would cripple your left arm. I will definitely do it. Tang Yu's cold voice reached Hu Yanzhen's ears. Hu Yanzhen covered his left arm with his trembling right hand. He was really unlucky today. Could it be because I didn't look at the almanac before I went out? Alright, pig. Take your piggy and get out of here. Remember, get out. Tang Yu emphasized the word, get out. Yes. Understood. After Hu Yanzhen finished speaking, he really took his piglet and rolled out of the Yuji clan. Ha 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 ha. Awesome. This is so King satisfying. I didn't expect Tianxiang to have such a day. Ha. Niu Gao waited for Hu Yanzhen to get out and laugh. Then, he bowed respectfully to Tang Yu and said, Thank you for your help, Senior, it's nothing. I just can't stand a pig. Tang Yu waved his hand and said, Let's continue talking. Good. Let's continue talking. The few of them discussed for a long time. In the end, Tang Yu decided that when the clan leaders of the Min clan and Pu clan came over, he would think of a way to pull them into the Tangmen to become the Min clan and the Medicine clan. The Titan and Niu Gao also agreed. However, the Min clan was easy, but the Pu clan was a little. However, Tang Yu said that the Pu clan would be handed over to him. This puzzled everyone. Then, Tang Yu told everyone that the clan leader of the Pu clan, Yang Wudi, was an old acquaintance of his. According to Tang Yu, they seemed to be familiar with each other because they talked about medical knowledge. Yang Wudi even voluntarily called Tang Yu Big Brother because Tang Yu's medical knowledge was above Yang Wudi's. This made the two of them feel helpless because Yang Wudi was a complete drug addict. As long as it was about drugs, he would seem to be possessed. On the evening of the second day, the people of the Min clan came. There were more than 10 people from the Min clan. Niu Gao and Titan went out together to welcome them. Tang San, Tang Yu, Ma Hongjun and the rest followed behind them. After counting carefully, Tang San found that there were a total of 12 people from the Min clan. The old man in the lead was thin and tall, but he looked very well proportioned. His long hair was draped over his back, but his hair was already snow-white. If it wasn't for his rosy face, he would look even older than Titan and Niu Gao. However, Tang San knew that his actual age was 1 year younger than Niu Gao. His soul power was also around rank 82. He was the clan leader of the Min clan, by he. In fact, the martial soul of the Min clan wasn't a crane. Cranes didn't fly very fast. The reason why they took the all-agility route had a lot to do with their martial souls. This was because the martial soul of the Min clan was a bird with the fastest flying speed, called the sharp-tailed swallow. It was because of this martial soul that the Min clan took the cultivation route. Beside Bai He was a young girl who looked about the same age as Tang San and Ma Hongjun. The young girl was tall and well-proportioned, and she was very beautiful. Although she was a little thin, she was only slightly inferior to Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing. Her eyes looked a little arrogant. She held onto Bai He's arm and looked around with her beautiful eyes, as if she was very interested in everything around her. When Ma Hongjun saw this young girl, his eyes immediately widened. He had never been immune to beautiful women. He secretly swallowed his saliva and stared at her without blinking. It was as if he wanted to eat her up. The young girl quickly felt Ma Hongjun's gaze and glared at him. She turned her head and her beautiful eyes landed on Tang San. However, she wasn't looking at Tang San's handsome face. Instead, she was looking at Xiao Wu, who was in Tang San's arms. Xiao Wu's hair was silver and shiny, and the roots of her hair were starting to turn golden. Furthermore, it was spreading. Her chubby appearance made her look very cute. At least, it was fatal to young girls. Tang Yu looked at her thoughtfully. She seems to be by Qinxiang, which means she's the one from the Yinyang Love Querying Valley, right? At this moment, a cold voice sounded in his spiritual world. What? Do you want to help her? Help her inherit a better deity position? The voice belonged to Han Tian. Do you have a way? Tang Yu was delighted. After all, she was Ma Hongjun's future wife. Yes, I do. Han Tian's voice sounded. What should I do? Tang Yu replied. If you really want to help her, you have to let her martial spirit revert to its ancestor. Her martial spirit is Swift. Since you've read my memories, you should know whose descendant Swift is, right? Swift. Yen. You mean? Tang Yu was a little incredulous. Yes. It's its descendant. The conversation between the two was completely unknown to everyone in the hall. The few of them talked about buying the Zhuge Divine crossbow. Bai He decided to buy 200 of them. However, the crossbow was too damn expensive. Tang Yu thought to himself, is 24,000 gold soul coins expensive? 10,000 years later, it's simply too cheap, okay? Sigh. Regarding this, he could only sigh. The times are changing. After that, Bai He and Tang San made a bet. Tang San and Bai Qinxiang would compete in speed. If Tang San won, Bai He would give Tang San 100 gold soul coins. If Tang San lost, he would give him the Zhuge divine crossbow. The result was obvious. After that, a voice sounded, "Senior Bai He, why don't I make a bet with you?" Everyone turned their gaze to Tang Yu. These words were spoken by Tang Yu. "What are we betting on?" Bai He asked. Previously, he saw Titan and Niu Gao being respectful to this young man. Moreover, this young man gave him a feeling that he couldn't see through. Compete in speed with Senior. If Senior loses, join us Tang men. If I lose, I can give you or your clan a fortune, Tang Yu said with a smile. Bai He was stunned, and so was Bai Qinxiang. She couldn't help but ask, "What fortune?" Your martial soul is a swallow, right? I can try to make it revert to its ancestors and become one of the 9 chicks, Xian. Tang Yu still had a smile on his face. His words were said very calmly, but everyone was greatly shocked. Especially Bai He, Bai Qinxiang, and Tang San. Bai He and the rest didn't know what Xian was, but Tang San had heard of it. According to ancient records in his previous life, a dragon had 9 sons, and a phoenix had 9 chicks. Xian was one of the 9 chicks. However, he was shocked that Tang Yu actually knew about it too. As expected of someone from the future. Martial souls are already fixed at birth. Can it revert to its ancestors? Bai He was puzzled. Tang Yu said slowly, "Have you heard of the second awakening of martial souls? In a sense, any martial soul, including a trash martial soul, can undergo the second awakening of martial souls. The second awakening can make the martial soul evolve and become stronger." After everyone heard this, they were quite shocked, especially Tang San. His martial soul came from the second awakening. He didn't know much about the second awakening. Now that he heard Tang Yu's explanation, it turned out that martial souls had such a profound meaning. "All right. I agree. If I lose, I'll voluntarily bring my Min clan to join the Tang men. If you lose, you have to give my granddaughter's martial soul a second awakening," Bai He said. The second awakening of his martial spirit had deeply moved him. "Grandpa," Bai Qinxiang whispered. In fact, she planned to give the chance of the second awakening to her grandfather. This way, the Min clan wouldn't be the weakest. "Very good." Tang Yu nodded. Then, he raised his head and looked at the sky. Everyone raised their heads and saw a very long strip 1,000 meters in the sky. "Let's compete to see who gets that strip first," Tang Yu said. "No problem." Bai He was ready. "Ready. 3, 2, 1. In an instant. Swoosh. Dust flew. 2 figures of light soared into the sky. Everyone watched quietly. The dust dissipated. What shocked everyone was that when the dust dissipated, Tang Yu was standing there. "Hey, why are you still here? My grandfather has already flown out," Bai Qinxiang reminded him. Tang Yu smiled and said, "Is that so? Then let him continue to fly." Everyone was puzzled. What did this mean? In less than half a minute, Bai He suddenly returned. "How is it? Grandpa, have you already gotten it?" Bai Qinxiang hurriedly surrounded him. Bai He didn't say anything. His eyes were filled with shock as he looked at Tang Yu. "Senior, you have to admit defeat," Tang Yu said with a smile. Then, he took out the strip and waved it in front of everyone. Everyone was shocked. Especially Bai Qinxiang. She knew her grandfather's speed the best, but he actually lost? When did he get it? She wasn't the only one who thought so. Everyone else thought so too. Bai He was probably the only one who knew about this because when the 2 of them soared into the sky, Tang Yu instantly disappeared from his sight. In the next second, he saw Tang Yu had already retrieved the strip. In the next second, Tang Yu directly returned to the ground. The whole process only took 3 seconds. "Sigh. I don't deserve to be called a senior. You're faster than me, so I should call you a senior. I've lost. From now on, the Min tribe is willing to join the Tang men." But he was also willing to admit defeat. Very good. From now on, you'll be the leader of the Min clan in the Tangmen. The freedom of the Min tribe won't be restricted. You'll be responsible for gathering intelligence in the future, Tang Yu said. Now, only the old goat is left, Titan Yuhao said. Sigh. The old goat isn't easy to talk to. Can we rope him in? Bai He sighed. As long as this senior shows up, we might be able to settle it. Titan Yuhao looked at Tang Yu. Who is he? Bai He was very curious, and so was Bai Qinxiang. You might know my nickname, Spirit Aishura, Tang Yu said. What? They were shocked. Of course, they knew about the Spirit Aishura, but they did not expect the legendary Spirit Aishura to be so young. The next day, Tang San woke up early and heard from Ma Hongjun that the Posey tribe had arrived. Then, the two of them hurried to the main hall. However, before they entered the hall, they heard a voice. Isn't this Big Brother Tang? It's been a long time since we last met. Little brother's experience in the field of medicine has improved a little. However, since Big Brother Tang is here, I have a favor to ask of you. I beg you to destroy those bastards from the Martial Soul Palace. They want to take over my family. Alright. Hurry up and get up. What do you think you're doing? At most, you can join the Tangmen that my third brother created. The voice belonged to Tang Yu. After the two of them entered the hall, they saw Tang Yu standing there. Titan Yuhao, Bai He, and some other people from the three tribes were standing beside him. Bai Qinxiang was also there. There were 3 people kneeling in front of Tang Yu. One of them was an old man, while the other 2 were young. They were from the Posey tribe, and the old man was the tribe leader of the Posey tribe, Yang Wudi. They're from the Posey tribe? That old man is the tribe leader, Yang Wudi? Ma Hongjun thought to himself in disbelief. Yo, third brother, you're here. Tang Yu greeted Tang San and the others with a smile. Yang Wudi stood up and looked at Tang San. He furrowed his brows and said, Big Brother Tang, is he the Tang San that you mentioned? His surname is Tang. Don't tell me he's related to the Clear Sky sect? My name is Tang San, and my father is Tang San. Tang San did not hide anything. What? Yang Wudi was shocked. Then, his expression became colder and colder. He turned to Tang Yu and bowed. My apologies, Big Brother Tang. Sorry to disturb you, Big Brother. Then, he called the 2 of them out of the door. Senior Yang Wudi, can I say a few words? Tang San suddenly asked. Yang Wudi turned around abruptly and glared coldly at Tang San. He did not hide his killing intent at all. I've sworn that the Clear Sky sect will be my eternal enemy. Leave this place while I can still endure. Otherwise, even if Big Brother Tang is here, I don't know what I will do. Tang San's gaze suddenly turned cold. When dealing with people who were difficult to talk to, it was best to subdue them first. Is that so? Tang Yu said coldly. Don't interfere, Light Rain. I'd like to see what Senior Yang can do. Why don't we make a bet, Senior Yang? Yang Wudi was so angry that he laughed. Alright. As expected of Tang Hao's son, and as expected of Big Brother Tang's disciple. What's the bet? How many rounds can you last? Tang San shook his head and said, I want to bet with Senior Yang. If I win, I don't want anything else. I just want Senior Yang to promise me one thing. If I lose, I'll be at your mercy. How about that? Alright. I'd like to see what qualifications you have to compete with me. As long as you win, even if it's 10 or 100 things, even my old life will be yours. Yang Wudi said nonchalantly. Splat. Blood splattered everywhere. The Soul Breaker's spear pierced through Tang San's right chest. The terrifying spear actually pierced through Tang San's body, then continued flying into the distance and disappeared into the wall behind him. Tang San's body swayed, and his face instantly turned pale. The Clear Sky hammer in the air also disappeared. Young Master! Titan took large strides and was about to run toward Tang San. But at this moment a hand blocked him. Benefactor. Young master, Titan's face was extremely gloomy. Third brother told me not to interfere, which means that you can't either. Don't you have confidence in third brother? Just wait and see. Even if his limbs are broken, third brother will be fine. Tang Yu looked at Titan and said. Then, a miraculous scene appeared. A rich blue-gold light rose from Tang San's right leg and instantly enveloped his entire body. Then, the hideous bloody hole in his right chest actually healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Everyone could not believe the scene in front of them. This was simply, even Yang Wudi was in disbelief. What a terrifying healing ability! At this moment, a pink light suddenly rushed out from between Tang San's eyebrows. The pink light first turned into a rabbit, then slowly transformed into a peerless beauty. Xia was so real and so ethereal. Her body was slightly illusory, but it did not change her beauty. Xiao Wu. Tang San looked at the beauty in front of him in disbelief. Even Ma Hongjun, who was standing at the side, was shocked. Bai Chenxiang was also stunned on the spot. Originally, she was quite confident in her appearance. However, when this peerless beauty appeared, all the brilliance shrouded her. Xiao Wu looked at Tang San gently and nodded at him. Then, she looked at Yang Wudi with cold and murderous eyes. You did this. Xiao Wu's ethereal voice sounded from her mouth. Yang Wudi was stunned and nodded subconsciously. Suddenly, Xiao Wu swung her head violently. The slender black scorpion braid had already wrapped around Yang Wudi's neck. At this moment, Yang Wudi was still in a state of dizziness after being hit by the clear sky hammer. Xiao Wu kicked him in the back with one foot. Using the strength of her waist, she raised her neck backward and pushed her foot forward. Yang Wudi's body was already in the air. Seeing this familiar scene, Tang San was in disbelief. He finally understood what the second soul skill of his sixth soul skill was. The first soul skill was nihility, and the second soul skill was Xiao Wu's specialty, explosive 8 slams. However, it seemed that he could not use this second soul skill. Only Xiao Wu could use it. However, Xiao Wu was his spirit. If she could use it, it meant that he could use it. It was just that he had to summon Xiao Wu and let Xiao Wu use it. Spirit? What a good thing. Tang San could not help but sigh at Tang Yu's spirit contract. Yang Wudi was actually thrown into the air by her earlier throw. He hit the roof heavily and bounced back down. Xiao Wu caught up with him the moment he bounced back. A pink figure appeared where Yang Wudi had to pass as he fell. She grabbed his waist with both hands. Her slender waist seemed to break as she spun Yang Wudi's body backward. Although Yang Wudi wanted to resist, he was still in a state of dizziness after hitting the roof. Other than the feeling of the world spinning, he could only summon his soul-breaking spear again. Just like that, Xiao Wu grabbed onto Yang Wudi's clothes and spun 2 rounds in the air. When she landed on the ground, the rapid rotation caused by the waist bow brought Yang Wudi's body smashing into the ground with a soul-stirring whistling sound. Yang Wudi wanted to use his soul-breaking spear to support himself on the ground. However, how could he see where the ground was while he was spinning? Titan and the other 2 were dumbfounded. They closed their eyes at the same time. Tang Yu prayed silently. Little brother, don't worry. Even if you die, I'll take care of the aftermath. You're really unlucky today. You injured Tang San and angered Xiao Wu's spirit. This was the first time Titan and the others had seen this so-called spirit. However, a few days ago, they had talked with Tang San and Tang Yu. Was this a spirit? It could actually be used to replace a soul ring. Furthermore, it could summon a soul beast to help. This was already beyond a soul ring. Boom! Yang Wudi's body slammed heavily into the ground, completely prostrating himself on the ground. Yang Wudi let out a muffled groan as blood flowed from his nose. He was a little dazed from the fall. The dizziness effect came again. However, this was just the beginning. Xiao Wu didn't stop. He pressed his hands on Yang Wudi's waist and did a backhand flip. His legs clamped on both sides of Yang Wudi's head and threw him forward. His hands were released, but his legs could exert more force. Yang Wudi's body was driven by Xiao Wu's legs. Following Xiao Wu's backhand flip, Yang Wudi was lifted up and smashed into the ground again. Using the reaction force of the second fall, Xiao Wu flipped back and smashed Yang Wudi back to his original position. At this moment, the leader of the Posey clan was like a sack that had been lifted up by Xiao Wu's feet. There were a total of 6 times, 3 times in front and 3 times in front of him. His bones were constantly cracking. When Tai Tan, Niu Gao, and Bai He saw this scene, they all swallowed a mouthful of saliva at the same time. They could imagine the impact that Yang Wudi had to endure. Other than Niu Gao, who was somewhat confident that he wouldn't be injured by this degree of fall, even Titan knew that he was unlucky. Yang Wudi's blood had already splattered at their feet. Finally, when Xiao Wu threw Yang Wudi's body into the air again, she didn't throw him directly to the ground. Instead, she threw him into the air. 6 consecutive falls were considered to be the end. Including the initial mid-air spinning fall, she had already thrown him 7 times. Xiao Wu jumped up again. As she caught up with Yang Wudi's body in the air, her legs clamped on his neck again. "Xiao Wu, sister, have mercy!" Tang San and Tang Yu shouted at the same time, saving Yang Wudi. In the air, Xiao Wu looked at Tang San, then looked at Tang Yu. The murderous look in her eyes instantly turned into tenderness. The legs clamping on Tang San's neck loosened. Her right leg chopped down and smashed him directly to the ground. Then she threw herself into Tang San's arms like a swallow. Bang! Poor Yang Wudi fell to the ground again. Tang Yu hurriedly ran over to take a look. Sigh. He sighed. Ah? Light Rain, why are you sighing? He can't be saved, right? Ma Hongjun asked. Everyone was shocked. Then, they looked anxiously at Tang Yu. I'm sighing because he's still considered smart. At the critical moment, he used his soul power to protect his body and the meridians in his body. Otherwise, that attack just now would have taken away half of his life. Tang Yu shook her head and smiled. Gasp. Everyone gasped and looked at Xiao Wu in Tang San's arms. At this moment, she was just a girl who was acting coquettishly. She didn't have the crazy look from before. Xiao Wu. Tang San looked at the beauty in his arms with a hint of reproach in his eyes. Who told him to hurt you? Third brother, do you know? I woke up yesterday. I didn't come out because I wanted to give you a surprise. But when I saw your injuries just now, my heart was hanging in the air, so I... Xiao Wu looked at Tang San and said. There were tears in her eyes. Seeing Xiao Wu like this, Tang San didn't know what to say. He could only pat her head and say gently, It's okay. It's good that you're awake. Silly, don't you know that my healing ability is very strong? Don't do this again next time, okay? Third brother, I'm tired. I'll go back first. Xiao Wu finished speaking and turned into a pink light that merged into Tang San's forehead. Tang Yu helped Yang Wudi up and took out a green pill. Titan recognized this pill. It was the pill that Tang Yu had given Titan a few years ago. It had healed Titan's internal injuries and even allowed him to break through to level 87. The injuries on Yang Wudi's body were rapidly recovering. In less than 10 breaths of time, he was completely healed. Everyone was also greatly shocked. There was actually such a powerful pill? Even the unique pills of the Poji clan didn't have such a strong recovery ability, right? No wonder Yang Wudi was willing to call Tang Yu big brother. His alchemy skills were above Yang Wudi's. In the next moment, Yang Wudi woke up. Thank you, big brother. When he woke up, the first thing he did was to thank Tang Yu. This was because when he drank the medicine, his consciousness was already half awake. He had to admit that he would probably never be able to catch up to Tang Yu's skills in alchemy in this lifetime. Then, he looked at Tang San and realized that the injury on his right chest had long disappeared. He was very surprised. Alright. Don't look any more. My third brother deliberately bumped into your muzzle. His goal was to hit you with the clear sky hammer. Third brother's recovery ability is very strong. Little brother, do you admit defeat? Tang Yu patted Yang Wudi and said. Sigh. I admit defeat. I've lost completely. If you have any conditions, just say it. Even if you want my life, I'll give it to you. Yang Wudi sighed and said. The last two sentences were obviously directed at Tang San. Tang San smiled and said, Actually, my condition is very simple. I just hope that senior can accept a gift from this junior. After saying that, a large flower with a stem appeared in Tang San's hand. Immediately, a faint fragrance was released. The refreshing smell permeated every corner of the restaurant. Even Xiao Wu, who was sitting next to Tang San, could not help but stare at the flower in Tang San's hand with her empty eyes. It was a light pink flower. It had no leaves, and the stem was 3 feet long. The flower was extremely large, with a diameter of 1 foot. Every petal looked like a crystal. When Bai He saw that Tang San did not take out the crystal blood ginseng, but a large flower, he was shocked. Xiao San, where's the ginseng that I gave you? Tang San smiled bitterly at Bai He and said, Granduncle, it's not that I don't want to take it out. It's just that it's been eaten by Xiao Wu. What? Bai He looked at Tang San with his mouth agape. His face suddenly turned pale. He knew Yang Wudi's personality too well. He could not do what he promised. He, who was already prejudiced against the Clear Sky sect, could no longer compromise with the Tang men. The situation that he had worked so hard to create was instantly destroyed. Even Titan and Niu Gao's expressions turned ugly. If Yang Wudi was not willing to join the Tang men, it meant that Bai He and his Min clan would not be able to join either. This would be a huge loss. However, to their surprise, Yang Wudi's gaze was fixed on the large flower in Tang San's hand. He slowly stood up and strode in front of Tang San. You're really willing to give it to me? Yang Wudi's voice sounded like it was trembling. It was a tremor that was caused by excitement and joy. Tang San said earnestly, Fays choose their masters. If it follows you, it should be able to display a greater effect. This junior also has some knowledge of medicine. I hope that I can listen to senior's teachings in the future. Yang Wudi carefully took the large flower in Tang San's hand and said happily, Okay, this old man will follow you in the future. Why didn't you take it out earlier? If you had taken it out earlier, I wouldn't have had to fight with you and embarrass myself. However, I'll say this first. Your Tang men are not allowed to restrict me. Tang San smiled and said, That's not a problem. I invited Senior and the Posey clan to the Tang men to discuss medicine research. Yang Wudi seemed to have gone mad. He started to dance around. Ha 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 ha, I've been looking for it my entire life. I didn't expect to get it like this. Delicate silk immortal, with you, what poison do I not dare to create in the future? There won't be any more tragedies. Haha, that's great. Bai He was depressed. He couldn't help but ask, Is this thing more valuable than my ginseng? Yang Wudi laughed. The old-fashioned look on his face was gone. It can't be compared. In terms of value, perhaps your crystal blood dragon ginseng is more valuable. However, for me, this delicate silk immortal is much more important. With it, I don't have to worry about being poisoned when I create any medicine. With it, I can create many medicines that I didn't dare to try in the past. Furthermore, its fragrance can cause many medicines to mutate and unleash greater effects. To the Posey clan, this thing is a priceless treasure. I'm willing to exchange my life for it. Titan laughed and said, Does this mean that you're willing to join the Tang men with us? Yang Wudi stared at the delicate silk immortal in his hand. I'm willing. I'm willing. Why do you have so much nonsense to say? I'll return tomorrow morning. After that, I'll bring my clansmen to your place to eat and drink. Haha, delicate silk immortal. The medicine hall of the 4 Tang men was established. The 4 Tangmen were officially established. Chapter 26. A few months later, Tang San, Tang Yu, and the rest returned from the metal capital. They had also successfully lured the divine blacksmith Lu Gao into Tangmen. After a long discussion, they finally decided to establish the 5th hall of Tangmen. Ma Hongjun would be the hall master, and he would be in charge of combat and training. Shrek Academy. Tang Yu and Wang Donger were helping Ling Yu, who was about to become a soul sage, form her first soul core. Yuhao, when my father becomes a soul sage in the future, do you want to help him form his soul core? Yes, we can try. It's best if we can form the yin-yang complement. Okay. It's decided. However, Yuhao, do you want to help Xiao Yu form resonance or the most dangerous kind? Xiao Yu has caught the eye of the demon god, Sky Scar. He wants to pass his godly position to Xiao Yu. He told me that as the inheritor of the demon god, the stronger one is, the greater one's future achievements will be. Therefore, I want to try and see if Xiao Yu can succeed, and become the 3rd person to have 3 soul cores, and whether she can defeat the strongest demon god. Roar, 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 you have high expectations for her. You can't be jealous, right? She's only my disciple. However, she's my first disciple. Of course, I have to teach her well. What's with that expression? What do you think? On Tang San's side, Tang San was listening to the soul bone armor and the twin Dolu. At this moment, a voice came from outside the door. Is the little monster back? It was Dugubo's voice. The office door opened, and Dugubo rushed in like a whirlwind. When he saw Tang San, he was overjoyed. Little monster, I heard from the little girl from the Ning family that you're back. I immediately came to find you. Come with me. Something bad has happened. Oh right. Where's your brother? Call him too. As he spoke, he pulled Tang San up from the sofa. Tang San frowned and said, My younger brother is not here because he has something urgent to attend to. What happened? Did the poison in the snowy night emperor relapse? Dugubo was stunned. How did you know? Tang San said, With your current strength, is there anything else I can help you with other than poison? When Dean Flanders said that you were looking for me for an urgent matter, I had already guessed it. Dugubo looked at the great master and Flanders, an extremely solemn expression appearing on his face. Little 3, I'm afraid that we are in big trouble this time. I'm afraid the Snow Knight Emperor is about to die. What? Everyone in Flanders' office exclaimed at the same time. They were all stunned by the sudden news. Dugubo rushed to the palace with Tang San and Yang Wudi. However, they ran into Crown Prince Xueqinghe and 2 old men. Both of them were titled Dolu. In the end, they found out that they had been tricked. Xueqinghe and the Martial Soul Palace were related. The 3 of them immediately became alert. Tang San also released a signal flare. Was the battle going to start so soon? Tang San, the reason why you released the signal flare is undoubtedly to ask for help from 2 parties. One is the 7 Treasures glazed sect in the palace, and the other is the great master of the Shrek Academy. This time, I transferred 3,000 soul masters from the Martial Soul Palace, including 4 elders from the Martial Soul Palace. Other than these 2, there are 2 other elders leading 3,000 soul masters, including the 2,000 soul masters in the palace, to surround the 7 Treasures glazed sect. They won't be able to save you. As for the great master, I sent a letter not long ago to the leader of the soul masters from the royal family. I told him that the Shrek Academy might rebel, and asked him to keep a close eye on them. Even if the great master has a lot of prestige among these soul masters, he can't mobilize these soul masters from the royal family to attack the palace. Furthermore, these soul masters will restrain the students from the Shrek Academy. At the same time, for safety's sake, I also sent 1,000 Martial Soul Palace soul masters to monitor the Shrek Academy. Even if there are any changes, they will be able to stop them immediately. No matter what, the students from the academy won't be able to break through this barrier. Xue Qinghe chuckled. The corner of Tang San's mouth curled up. Your Highness, you guessed wrong. I didn't release the signal flare only for 2 reasons. There's also a third reason. What did you say? Could it be? Xue Qinghe was shocked. He seemed to have thought of something. Damn it. I actually forgot about that person. You must stall for time. Wait for reinforcements. Tang San said to Dugu Bo and Yang Wudi, who were fighting with the 2 titled Dolu. Damn it. No. We can't wait for him to come. Otherwise, the 2 elders. Please end this quickly. Otherwise, that person will come. Xue Qinghe shouted to the 2 titled Dolu. Then, he released his martial soul and began to fight with Tang San. Tang San was shocked. It was actually a 6-winged angel. The 2 titled Doluo were also anxious. If that person came, they would be wiped out. Somewhere in the heavens, Do, third brother, sent the signal. It seems they're about to make a move. Ling Yu, go. A black-clothed man said to a beautiful 17 or 18-year-old girl in a purple muslin dress. The girl had long purple hair that fell to her waist. There was a long saber on the left side of her waist. Yes, master, I will definitely save Uncle Master. After saying that, the girl soared into the sky and flew towards the palace. This child, her future achievements might not be inferior to yours. A girl in a pink dress said as she leaned on the black-clothed man's shoulder. Yes. She's the same as me. She became a soul sage at the age of 17. However, I became a soul sage through Chior's sacrifice. She relied on her own hard work. The man said with relief. Haha. Are you jealous of your own disciple? Didn't she become so strong because of your nurturing? If she didn't meet you, perhaps she would have been killed. The girl comforted. Let's go and take a look. This might be an exciting battle. The man said to the girl. Okay. Angel versus Demon King. Who will be the winner? After saying that, the 2 of them disappeared. Goodbye, Tang San. Let me end your life with my own hand. This is the last thing I can do for you. Don't worry, I will give you a proper burial. I will always remember you. Before you die, I will let you see my true face. I believe that you can die without regret. As he said that, Xue Qinghe raised his other hand and reached into the front of his robes. He flipped his wrist and quickly lifted up a strange mask that was connected to his hair. Even though he was on the brink of death, Tang San was still shocked when he saw Xue Qinghe's true face. Xue Qinghe's body was still that of a man's, but her face had changed into a cold and beautiful face. My real name is Qianrenxue. Tang San, you're finally not a muddle-headed ghost to die in my hands. As she said that, she raised her right hand and slowly chopped down in the air. Her speed was very slow, and her eyes were fixed on Tang San. Under the threat of death, she believed that this would give Tang San the greatest psychological pressure. No matter what, she still held on to the last strand of hope in her heart. In her opinion, as long as one was human, they would be afraid of death. Tang San smiled faintly. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. To me, your identity doesn't mean anything. Since you're from the Martial Soul Palace, you can only be my enemy. No wonder you were impulsive enough to reveal your secret. There's a trace of gentleness behind your decisiveness. So you're a woman. After he finished speaking, he hugged the unconscious Xiao Wu tightly. Previously, even if he teamed up with Xiao Wu, who had become a spirit, they were still no match for Qianrenxue. As expected of a 6-winged angel, she actually had the ability to suppress spirits. Furthermore, if his spirit was injured, he would be injured as well. Xiao Wu turned into a pink light and merged into his body. Goodbye. Qianrenxue's right hand suddenly accelerated, and a huge golden light sword that was 3 meters wide descended from the sky and slashed towards Tang San. However, something unexpected happened. The light sword slashed through Tang San's body just like that. As for Tang San, it was as if he had become an illusion. He started to distort and then slowly disappeared. What's going on? Qian Renxue said in disbelief. Could this be Tang San's trump card? He was still holding back during the previous battle? Domain. Mirror of water, moon in the water. A faint voice sounded all around. Who's there? Come out. Qian Renxue frowned. This was a powerful person. After this sentence was spoken, everything around them changed. There was a huge forest, and there was no wind. There was a huge lake, and there was a round moon hanging high in the sky. Qian Renxue was standing on the surface of the lake. However, for some reason, there were no ripples on the surface of the lake. The surface of the lake reflected her image. Everything was very quiet. This is... Qian Renxue was in disbelief. Was this a domain? What a strange domain. A six-winged angel who's a soul sage. Very good. This opponent, I like. A pleasant voice suddenly sounded. Following this, 10 meters away from Qian Renxue, the space around her twisted, and a beautiful figure appeared. It was a beautiful girl around 16 years old. She had flawless white skin and purple-black eyes. Her purple hair reached her waist, and she wore a purple dress. There was a long saber on her left waist, and there were blood-red patterns engraved on the scabbard. Who are you? Qian Renxue suddenly became nervous, because there was no reflection under her feet. A demon king, the girl said slowly. What a joke. Qian Renxue moved. She flapped her 6 wings and flew towards the girl with 2 light swords in her hands. Your state of mind is really bad. I am a little disappointed in you. The girl sighed. Cut the crap. Qian Renxue waved her light sword and slashed it towards the girl. However, the sword slashed through the girl's body just like that. The girl's body started to distort and then disappeared. Damn it. It was exactly the same as when Tang San disappeared. Hey! Over here! A voice sounded behind Qian Renxue. Qian Renxue turned around and saw the girl standing 5 meters away from her. There was still no reflection in the water. Another fake? Qian Renxue asked. She slashed her light sword again. As expected, the girl disappeared again. Come out if you have the guts. Qian Renxue shouted angrily. I've always been here. The girl's voice sounded again. After that, the girl appeared in front of Qian Renxue again. There was still no reflection in the water. Damn it! Another fake. Qian Renxue raised her light sword again. However, this time the girl moved. She pulled out her long knife and slashed it towards her. Bam! The 2 powerful auras caused the surrounding lake to surge. Qian Renxue was pushed back 20 meters by the recoil. How is this possible? Aren't you a fake? Qian Renxue could not believe it. Fake? You're the fake. Xiaoye has always been the real one. It's time to end this, the girl said. The girl held her knife with both hands and slowly closed her eyes. Her aura suddenly changed. Her purple hair slowly turned blood-red. Her purple dress also slowly turned blood-red. Blood-red curse seals started to appear around her eyes. What shocked Qian Renxue was the 7 soul rings that suddenly appeared around her. She looked like she was only 16 years old. Furthermore, her soul ring combination was 5 black and 2 red. The young girl slowly opened her eyes. Her originally purplish-black pupils had already turned blood-red, filled with baleful aura. Qian Renxue could not believe it. This person was a real monster. Compared to Tang San, she was more like a monster. Although she was not as monstrous as that person, she thought that perhaps other than that person, this girl was the most monstrous person she had ever seen. Everything is over, Qian Renxue just reacted when she heard a voice behind her. After that, she turned around and saw that the girl who was originally in front of her had appeared behind her. Don't think that I'm afraid of you just because you have a good soul ring combination. Continue fighting, Qian Renxue said. I've already said that everything is over. the girl said slowly. After that, she slowly sheathed her saber. When the saber was completely sheathed, the sound of blood splattering could be heard from behind the girl. Plop! The sound of someone falling to the ground could be heard. The surrounding environment also started to crumble. The environment had changed back to the palace. Qian Rinxue was lying in a pool of blood. Everyone around her was shocked to see Qian Rinxue lying in a pool of blood. They also saw the girl with 7 soul rings standing in front of Qian Rinxue. Young master, you deserve to die. The 2 titled Doloa pushed Dugu Bo and Yang Wudi away and attacked the girl. 2 titled Doloa. This is a little difficult to deal with. The girl frowned and seemed to feel a little pressured. Ling Yu, Tang San, who was recovering from his injuries, shouted. Yes, that girl was Ling Yu. What shocked Tang San was that Ling Yu had already become a soul sage. This shocked Tang San. She was only 17 years old. He suddenly felt like he had been dealt a blow. She is indeed my brother's disciple. No. Now is not the time to think about this. Ling Yu is in danger. Just as the 2 titled Doloa were about to reach Ling Yu, a violent voice sounded. 2 titled Doloa dare to touch my disciple? Cram! A frightening aura was unleashed, and the 2 titled Doloa were sent flying. As they were sent flying, they spat out blood from their mouths. Boom! They crashed into the ground. Pooh! They spat out another mouthful of blood. 2 figures suddenly appeared behind the girl. They were a man and a woman who were not even 18 years old. Ling Yu looked behind her and was instantly delighted. She jumped into the man's arms and smiled coquettishly. Master, why are you here? The man was speechless. Am I very old? Yes, you look young, but you are an old man. You like to worry for nothing. Otherwise, why would you intervene when they were about to catch me? Actually, with my current strength, I can deal with those 2 titled Doloa without soul cores. I just need some time. But before I can do anything, you are afraid that I will get hurt. Don't you like to worry for nothing? Ling Yu stuck out her tongue and laughed. The woman beside the man could not help but laugh. The man's face was already red. It seemed like he was right. Light rain. Dong Tang San said happily. Third brother. Rest well. Tang Yu looked at Tang San. Yes. These 2 people were Tang Yu and Wang Dong who had been watching the battle from above. When the 2 titled Doloa attacked Ling Yu, Tang Yu was very angry for some reason. Then, he unknowingly intervened. Maybe it was really like what Ling Yu said. He was worried about Ling Yu's safety. Or maybe it was because of something else. Tang Yu looked at Qian Rinxue. She's not dead yet? Yes. I didn't kill her on purpose. After all, Master, you said that you wanted her to give senior uncle some pressure. So, I didn't kill her. Ling Yu said. Tang Yu nodded and looked at the 2 titled Doloa, the 2 Doloa, and the soul masters from the martial soul palace behind them. When they saw Tang Yu looking at them, they trembled. Oh my God! What a sin! We could have provoked anyone, but why did we provoke him? It seems like we are going to be wiped out this time. Scram! Take your young master and scram. I will let you go today. Tang Yu said calmly. Everyone was stunned. Not only them, but even Tang San, who was recovering, and Dugu Bo and Yang Wudi, who were guarding him, were stunned. Why aren't you leaving? Do you really want to be wiped out? Tang Yu said coldly. No, no, no. Thank you for showing mercy, senior. The 2 titled Doloa hurriedly helped Qian Rinxue up and left with the people from the martial soul palace. After a while, Shrek and the people from the 7 treasures glazed sect arrived. After asking Dugu Bo and the others, they found out that the martial soul palace had been driven away by Tang Yu. Light rain. Why did you let them go? Tang San stood up and asked Tang Yu after he had recovered. To leave some pressure for you, third brother. Without pressure, how can you grow? Tang Yu said. When Tang San and the others heard this, they had the urge to bang their heads against the wall. You let a threat like Qian Rinxue go because of this? Chapter 27. This was an extremely strange object. Its entire body was sparkling and translucent blue, and it was triangular in shape. Its entire body seemed to be carved from a sapphire, and it was only the size of a palm. The sparkling blue light was enshrouded in treasure light, and strange energy fluctuations were constantly emanating from it. There were ripple-like patterns on this blue triangular object. These patterns didn't seem to have been carved. Instead, they seemed to be alive. Circles of blue light flickered, and the entire chamber was enshrouded in a faint treasure light. Your Majesty, this is... Tang San turned to the Snowy Night Emperor. He glanced at Ning Fengji's face from the corner of his eye, and he could clearly see that Ning Fengji was also envious. What was this object that even the richest sect master of the 7 treasures glazed sect was envious of? This is the vast sea cosmic shroud. It's a component of the Poseidon trident. Tang Yu thought to himself. The Snowy Night Emperor said, "This object is called the vast sea cosmic shroud. From a certain perspective, it could be considered a soul tool. In the future, it will be the symbol of the vast Blue King. This object has many uses. When the vast Blue King returns and injects his soul power into it, he'll naturally understand. It should be able to provide some help to the vast Blue King during this expedition." Shrek Academy, Tang San's room. Light rain. Is this really a divine tool? Tang San looked at the vast sea cosmic shroud in his hand with uncertainty. There's no mistake. Third brother, don't you believe me? There's a trace of divinity on this object, which proves that this object was once a divine tool or a part of a divine tool. Furthermore, its grade isn't low either. Tang Yu said. Really? Tang San played with the vast sea cosmic shroud, and then released his spiritual power to probe it. Tang Yu was suddenly startled. Third brother, be careful. As soon as he finished speaking, Tang San felt an indescribable force bouncing his spiritual power back. He held the vast sea cosmic shroud and fell backward. His mind went blank. At the last moment before he regained consciousness, he felt something hit his head. It was none other than the vast sea cosmic shroud that had struck Tang San's head. The sharp end of the sword smashed a small wound on Tang San's forehead. Even with the toughness of Tang San's skin, it was still cut open. It was obvious how sharp the triangular tip was. Of course, when it hit Tang San, it also emitted a special layer of blue light, causing Tang San's defense to lose its effect. Only then could he successfully break through the skin. Blood flowed out, and the vast sea cosmic shroud rotated on the spot before attaching itself to the wound on Tang San's forehead as if it had a mind of its own. As Tang San's blood continued to flow into the shroud, the blue ripples of light gradually turned red. Tang San's Blue-Silver Emperor's right leg bone regeneration skill was completely ineffective against the vast sea cosmic shroud. The wound showed no signs of closing, and blood continued to flow out of it. Not long after that, a faint blue light drifted out of the vast sea cosmic shroud before condensing into an extremely faint projection. A calm and elderly voice sounded, "I don't know how long it's been, but I've finally found a good source of fresh blood. I've also finally found a constitution that can withstand the power of the vast sea." Poseidon? Tang Yu's face suddenly became expressionless. His body had been taken over by Han Tian. However, there was a hint of surprise on his expressionless face. The projection looked toward Tang Yu before a look of surprise appeared on its face. Then, it was elated. "This aura. It's the Ice Dragon King. You're not dead. I didn't think I'd be able to see you again. I was going to go find you after I passed on the divine seat. But you're actually in this kid's body. No. You have 2 souls, huh? Wait a moment. Holy sh*t. Brother, what kind of monster is this kid? Why does this kid have so many divine seat inheritances in his body?" The projection's last few words were quite shocking. "It's none of your business. Han Tian Tang Yu said indifferently. Don't be so cold. We haven't seen each other for tens of thousands of years. You, on the other hand, are unwilling to ascend to the God realm again because you don't want to catch up with your brother? Scram! Han Tian Tang Yu spat out. Don't be so heartless. Fine, fine, fine. We'll talk later. I didn't think I'd run into an old friend when I was looking for a successor. Ha 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 ha. Then, a blue light flashed and he disappeared into the triangular body of the vast sea cosmic shroud. The halo on the triangular body suddenly retracted and left the wound on Tang San's forehead. It spun and smashed into Tang San's shoulder before rolling down his shoulder and landing in his palm. At this moment, the triangular body had already regained its blue color. However, a hint of red light flashed at the core of the triangular body. Without the restriction of the vast sea cosmic shroud, the wound on Tang San's forehead quickly closed. However, he was still unconscious and had fallen into a deep slumber. Tang Yu also reverted to his original form and transmitted his voice into his mind with a hint of surprise. I didn't think you would know Poseidon. He's just a clingy old B***tch. Tens of thousands of years ago, I fought with him several times. Even though I was always able to crush him, this old B***tch was extremely clingy. After that, he kept coming to fight with me. After he ascended, he finally stopped bothering me. It's not easy for you either. Tang Yu sighed. Gradually, Tang San's consciousness became hazy. After an indeterminate period of time, when he regained consciousness, the sky outside was already dark. He was no longer alone in the room. Shrek's 6 monsters and Tang Yu were all gathered around him. Aside from Xiao Wu, who was holding onto his hand with a blank expression, and Tang Yu, who appeared to be completely fine, the other 5 people all wore anxious expressions on their faces. All of them heaved a collective sigh of relief upon seeing that he had regained consciousness. Dai Mubai asked in a grim voice, "What happened to you, little three? If you didn't wake up soon, we would have had to go and get Master Flanders and the others." Oscar replied, "We examined your body and discovered that you were quite weak. We asked Light Rain, and Light Rain told us that you were fine. What happened to you?" This was the thing that knocked me out. I didn't think that such a small thing would contain such an enormous amount of energy. Tang San placed the vast sea cosmic shroud in front of everyone and gave a brief recount of everything that had happened after he and Tang Yu had gone to the Imperial Palace. "Third brother, you have to inject your soul power into this thing, not your spiritual power. Of course you'll suffer a backlash from injecting your spiritual power into it," Tang Yu explained. Light Rain, why didn't you say so earlier?" Tang San turned to Tang Yu with a slightly reproachful look on his face. "I said that I had to inject my soul power into it. Third brother, you were the one who injected your spiritual power into it. How can you blame me for that?" Tang Yu splayed his hands open. I'll give it a try." Tang San injected a wisp of his soul power into the vast sea cosmic shroud. As soon as that wisp of soul power was injected into it, blue light suddenly blossomed, and the blue triangular object seemed to have come to life. Dense light swirled around it, and the dazzling appearance that it had when Tang San had first obtained it appeared once again. Wave-like blue light rippled in the room. Traces of strange patterns appeared on the surface of the shroud. Tang San could clearly sense the vast sea cosmic shroud's desire for his soul power, and he subconsciously injected more soul power into it. Ning Rongrong's expression changed, and she subconsciously took a step back. There was a look of astonishment in her beautiful eyes, because she realized that this seemingly small triangular object actually made her want to bow down and worship it. This was a tremor that came from her martial soul. Even with her top-grade martial soul, the 9 treasures glazed pagoda, she actually felt like bowing down to it. What exactly was this thing? Ning Rongrong's 9 treasures glazed pagoda wasn't just an auxiliary-type martial soul. If she were to break it down, it could be considered a top-grade treasure-type martial soul. This was also the main reason why she was able to find so many top-grade ores in Gengxin City. Right now, the vast sea cosmic shroud was giving her an extremely shocking feeling. If the 9 treasures glazed pagoda was a tower in the world of treasures, then this vast sea cosmic shroud was a mountain that could reach the peak of the world. At this moment, everyone was captivated by the dazzling light emanating from the vast sea cosmic shroud, and no one noticed the changes in Ning Rongrong. However, Tang Yu did. This was the pressure that a divine tool exerted on a tool's soul. Time slowly passed, and when Tang San woke up from that mysterious world, it felt like only a short while had passed. However, the sunlight that shone in from outside the window told him that it was already dawn. Before he knew it, an entire night had passed. Tang San's body silently drifted to the ground, and he couldn't help but sigh when he saw the concerned looks in everyone's eyes. This gift from the Heaven Do Empire is really too valuable. Ma Hongjun couldn't help but ask, "Third brother, what exactly is this thing for?" Tang San replied, "Let's go outside. I'll show it to all of you." Sect Master Tang, something doesn't seem right. We're almost at the village, but it's eerily quiet, and there's not a single person in the fields outside the village. Everyone looked at each other, and Dai Mubai said, "Let's go and take a look." Everyone got off the carriage and looked ahead. There was a small mountain village about half a kilometer away from them. The village didn't look very big, and there were only 100 or so households in it. The village was surrounded by large fields of farmland, just as the 7 treasures glazed sect disciple had said. From here, the village was eerily quiet, and there wasn't a single person in the fields either. Tang Yu instantly used his spiritual detection, and he instantly closed the distance of 500 meters and shared it with the 7 monsters and Bai Qinxiang. Tang San frowned and said, "Something is very wrong. The village seems to have been damaged. Many of the farmers' houses have been damaged, and it seems like they were damaged by blunt weapons. There are also bloodstains that haven't dried yet, so it must have happened not long ago." Bai Qinxiang said, "Third brother, should I go and take a look?" "There's no need for you to go. Light rain, expand the range." Tang San looked at Tang Yu and said. Tang Yu nodded, and then his spiritual detection instantly covered the entire area. Shrek 7 and Bai Qinxiang were amazed. This was a real detection-type soul master. With light rain by his side, he didn't have to go directly to the enemy's lair to gather information. Then, everyone saw a tragic scene. Bai Qinxiang was the first to change her expression. Her eyes were filled with intense fear, and she directly vomited. The others' faces were especially gloomy. Dead people. There were dead people everywhere. Behind the village, the ground was dyed red with blood. There were at least 100 corpses. They were killed by a group of strangely dressed people. They were carrying the corpses and walking towards the mountains behind. Many people's internal organs were flowing out. Those strangely dressed people even used spears to carry the corpses of children. Only young women were still alive. Third brother. Tang Yu looked at Tang San and said. Tang San nodded and looked at everyone. Rong Rong, Zhu Qing, you guys stay here. Xiao Ao, you protect them. Mu Bai, Fatso, Light Rain, let's go. There were about 300 bandits, and they were all extremely strong. Each of them was more than 2 meters tall, and had a solid physique. The most peculiar thing was that their hair was gray, and they were extremely hairy. They looked like savages. Their lips protruded outwards, revealing 2 canine teeth that were several times larger than an ordinary person's. Their faces were also smeared with dazzling oil paint. Wolf bandits. Tang Yu's eyes turned cold as he said coldly. Light Rain also knows about the wolf bandits? Dai Mubai asked curiously. I saw them when I was traveling around the continent. Those guys had designs on Little Yu, but I killed them. Tang Yu said coldly. Dai Mubai was stunned. No wonder Light Rain was so angry. So there were wolf bandits who had designs on Tang Yu's precious disciple. What are wolf bandits? Tang San would get to the bottom of things he didn't know. Dai Mubai said, wolf bandits can be considered humans, but they can also be considered humans. They are the combination of humans and a type of soul beast called the Gale Demon Wolf. Feng Xiaotian from the Four Elemental Academy has a Gale double-headed wolf martial soul. It is a mutated version of the Gale Demon Wolf. It's just that the martial soul doesn't have some of the characteristics of the Gale Demon Wolf. The Gale Demon Wolf is naturally lustful. It can mate with almost any creature similar to its size. It also likes to rape human women. When it mates with a human woman, it will give birth to a special species called the wolf bandit. They can be considered as half-wolf, half-human monsters. The wolf bandits are born with the physique, speed, and some innate abilities of the Gale Demon Wolf. At the same time, they also have a certain level of human intelligence. They are extremely bloodthirsty and greedy. Wherever there are wolf bandits, the people living there are unlucky. These wolf bandits don't just rob, they also kill humans and use them as their food. The women are temporarily left behind to be raped. Those who are not pregnant will also become their food. This is why they brought the villagers' corpses with them. Tang San and Ma Hongjun both sucked in a breath of cold air. Then, their eyes were filled with murderous intent. This kind of evil creature should be eliminated. You guys stay here. I'll be back soon. Tang Yu suddenly stood up and walked towards the mountain. The three of them could only watch Tang Yu walk towards the wolf bandits. It wasn't that they didn't want to follow, but it was because the moment Tang Yu stood up, their acupuncture points were frozen. Boom, boom, boom. The three of them heard the loud noise in the distance and closed their eyes. They didn't dare to continue watching. They knew that those guys were done for. However, they didn't know that Tang Yu had already gone berserk. Not long after, Tang Yu returned. However, there wasn't a single trace of blood on his body. He unsealed the three of their acupuncture points. Is it all done? Tang San asked. It's all done. It's just that I didn't manage to save those who were captured. They were all killed, Tang Yu said with a hint of self-blame. He told Tang San and the others that although he was a demigod, he had made a huge mistake. He had forgotten to restrain his murderous aura when he got close to his opponents. As a result, the wolf bandits sensed his murderous aura and killed those people. That was why Tang Yu almost went berserk. It's not your fault. Didn't you avenge them? The three of them comforted him. Only then did Tang Yu feel slightly better. Oh, that's right. Boss Dai, this is for you. Tang Yu threw a green bone to Dai Mubai. This is a right soul bone? Dai Mubai said in surprise after he received it and looked at it. Tang San and Ma Hongjun were also shocked. They actually picked up a soul bone among the 7 monsters. Only Boss Dai and Sister Xiao Wu don't have a soul bone, right? However, since Sister Xiao Wu has become a spirit soul, this is for you, Boss Dai. Tang Yu said. Thanks. Light Rain. Dai Mubai also thanked him. After 2 hours, Dai Mubai successfully fused. His skill was bloodthirst. However, he didn't try it out because he was afraid that it would go berserk. The few of them cleaned up the villagers' corpses. When they left, phoenix flames burned in the mountain forest. Under Ma Hongjuan's deliberate control, only the place where they piled up the corpses was set ablaze. As they left the bloody place, their mood gradually became more cheerful. Although they didn't save the villagers, they killed the wolf bandits, which was equivalent to saving more ordinary people. When they arrived at Oceanic City, they found an ordinary inn in the western part of the city, and stayed there. Light Rain and I went out for a walk. We bought some necessities for going out to sea. We rented a boat while we were at it. We have already instructed the boat owner to prepare to go out to sea. The boat owner said that we need a day to prepare. We will go out to sea in the morning of the day after tomorrow. There's something I want to ask everyone. Which one of you can swim? Tang San asked. Hearing Tang San's question, everyone couldn't help but be stunned. They looked at each other, but no one said anything. Only Tang Yu raised his hand. Other than light rain, don't tell me that everyone can't swim? Tang San asked tentatively. Other than light rain, everyone nodded. Among the 9 of them, only Tang Yu knew how to swim. The others didn't know how to swim. Tang Yu really had the urge to scold Tang San. You're a Poseidon, but you don't even know how to swim? If this spread out, your old enemy, the god of destruction, might laugh his head off. Light rain, why don't you teach us? Oscar looked at Tang Yu pleadingly. It takes at least a month to half a month for an ordinary person to learn how to swim. If a soul master uses soul power while swimming, it will take about a week. Even if you learn it now, it will be too late. If you're a genius, you can learn it in a few days, Tang Yu said plainly. Everyone sighed. Tang San said, it seems that it's necessary to buy a soul tool suitable for use in the sea. For example, the kind that can be turned into a boat. With Xiao Ao's flying mushroom intestines, we should be able to protect ourselves. Chapter 28. Everyone knew that a young man had saved Tang San. His name was Ji Xiang, and his martial soul was Needle. He had 0 innate soul power. Tang San had taken him in as his disciple, and even gave him the mysterious heaven method so that he could cultivate. Little 3, you actually took in a disciple? Dai Mubai and the rest of the 7 freaks looked at Tang San in shock. What's wrong with that? Light Rain already took in a disciple. Can't I take in one? Tang San looked at Tang Yu. That's true. Afterwards, Lucky said that it actually came from the Sea God's Island because it had to pass a test to serve the Sea God on the Sea God's Island. However, because it and its cousin both had innate 0 soul power, it was sent to the Purple Pearl Island by its parents. I say, how are we going to get to Poseidon Island now? Everyone thought about it. Originally, they had come to Poseidon Island on the Purple Pearl. However, they heard from Tang Yu that there was a 100,000-year great white demon shark guarding the island that specialized in attacking outsiders. Hence, they were troubled. Tang Yu stood up and said, in a while you guys will follow me. We'll walk there. Walk there. Everyone was surprised. That's right. We'll walk there. Tang Yu's lips curled up. Light Rain, since I let you wear the clothes that I couldn't bear to wear, you'll always be mine. I'll wait for you on Purple Pearl Island. You and your brothers and sisters must King come back alive for this old lady. The Purple Pearl had tears in her eyes as she looked at the land formed by the frozen sea. She shouted at the figure that she was infatuated with the most out of the 9 figures. Tang Yu, who was far away, staggered and almost slipped. Then, he raised his right hand and waved, not bad, Light Rain. You've captured a domineering big sister so quickly. That girl is not bad. Although she's a little old, she's well maintained. Dai Mubai patted Tang Yu's shoulder with a smile on his face. Tang Yu's face instantly darkened, but then he smiled sinisterly. Yeah. She has maintained herself well. My Wudong is even better than her. After that, he stepped lightly on the ice. Crack! The ice under Dai Mubai's feet suddenly cracked. Oh, I accidentally slipped, Tang Yu said innocently. Splash! The tiger fell into the water. Ah! Little Light Rain. I was wrong. Quickly pull me up. I can't swim. Dai Mubai cried for help. Tang Yu, on the other hand, ignored what was happening outside and continued to walk forward. The others looked at Dai Mubai with a silent expression. Then, they ignored him and continued to walk forward. That's right. Don't go. Save me. Who can help me? The tiger, who had been struggling in the water, cried out. Ah, chew. Clack, 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 clack. Little Light Rain. Clack, 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 clack. I was wrong. Can't I? Dai Mubai, who was wrapped in a blanket, couldn't stop trembling. He looked at the few people beside him, who wanted to laugh but didn't dare to. He said angrily, "Go on and laugh. Hurry up and laugh. Why are you holding it in? Aren't you afraid of suffocating to death? You brought this upon yourself. You can't live." Zhu Zhuqing said, "You're walking really slowly. Why don't let's try the dragon origin boat?" Tang Yu suddenly said. Everyone was shocked. That's right. They hadn't used the dragon origin boat since they bought it. Tang San hurriedly took out the dragon origin boat. As he injected his soul power into it, the dragon origin boat turned into a streak of light and floated into the air, landing on the surface of the sea that wasn't frozen. The boat's body quickly enlarged. In the blink of an eye, it had turned into a special boat about 12 meters long. The dragon origin boat was crystal clear. It looked like it was carved out of colorless crystal. There was a faint white halo on its surface. It didn't make a single sound when it landed in the sea. The bow of the boat looked like a dragon's head. The tail of the boat looked like a fish's tail. There were 4 fin-like wings on both sides of the boat. The entire boat was milky white. It looked like it was carved out of jade. The strangest thing was that the dragon origin boat was sealed. At this moment, the top hatch opened, revealing a total of 12 seats. There were handles for oars inside. Other than the 4 seats at the front and back, there was one for each seat. So it's manually operated. I thought it was fully automatic, Tang Yu muttered. Everyone floated down and landed on the dragon origin boat. The dragon origin boat didn't even shake because of their landing. It was very stable. Tang Yu raised his hand and pressed on a crystal ball the size of a human head in front of him. He injected his soul power into it. The top hatch immediately closed. It isolated the air and sound from the outside world. Tang Yu had studied the dragon origin boat thoroughly. He was also very familiar with the control of this boat. About half of the dragon origin boat was submerged in the sea. When they looked down, they could see the strange ocean world below. There was a good 360-degree line of sight. There were no blind spots at any angle. Tang Yu sat on the crystal ball at the front of the boat. This was the rudder of the dragon origin boat. Through this, he could control the dragon origin boat in various ways. Light Rain, do you have any experience in sailing a boat? Tang San suddenly asked. No. Otherwise, why would I volunteer to be the helmsman? This is my first time sailing a boat. I'm so excited. I feel super addicted. Full speed ahead. Tang Yu shouted excitedly. It could be said that Tang Yu was very curious about new things. In the end, everyone arrived at the Sea God's Island safely despite Tang Yu's reckless driving. Everyone stepped onto the beach and looked around. Poseidon Island was actually covered in green. This huge island gave them the feeling that they had returned to the mainland of Dolu. At a glance, they could not see the end of it. There were all kinds of plants growing on the island. Many of them were not known to them. The air was filled with the smell of the sea. It was fresh, warm, and refreshing. The faint cry of the sea could be heard in the wind. Under the sunlight, the sand on the beach, which was white and delicate like small crystals, glowed with silver light. When they first arrived here, the first thing they felt was the quietness. The sea and the sky were the same color, and the gulls were soaring. The sky was blue. It was so blue that it was high and far away. It was so blue that it was pure and transparent. It was just like Tang San's eyes. It was indescribably moving. We've discovered a new continent. Tang Yu shouted loudly. Light Rain, why are you shouting so loudly? I'm exaggerating my emotions. Do you know? In a place called Earth, there was a man called Columbus. He discovered a new continent other than the one he lived in, America. Tang Yu began to talk about strange things. Earth? Columbus? America? What the hell? They could only ignore Tang Yu's words. It hasn't changed at all, Tang Yu murmured. Actually, he didn't tell Tang San and the others that he had once snuck into the Sea God's Island with Ling Yu, but they were discovered by the upper echelons of the island. After that, He had fought with the head reverend and the other upper echelons. In the end, Tang Yu had emerged victorious. Everyone only forgave Tang Yu when he told them his purpose. He handed Ling Yu over to the high priest and trained her for a year. After a short moment of excitement, they took a break to replenish their strength and recover the soul power they had consumed before they were about to face the challenge of Poseidon Island. After they recovered, they were about to walk deeper into the island. "Who's there?" Along with a low shout, 7 or 8 figures suddenly jumped out of the woods, blocking the path of the group. These people had different appearances, but they had one thing in common, and that was the clothes they were wearing. They were wearing light yellow clothes similar to martial arts attire. The oldest of them was about 40 years old, and the younger ones were about the same age as Tang San and the others. There was a total of 8 people. They lined up in a row and blocked the group in front of the forest. The middle-aged man in the lead sized everyone up and frowned slightly. "Are you all soul masters from the land?" "Yes. We are only here to gain experience. We hope to pass the test and join Poseidon Island." Tang Yu was the first to walk to the front and said with a smile on his face. Seeing him, the middle-aged man was stunned. "This person looks a little familiar. Where have I seen him before?" The middle-aged man did not think much and said coldly, "Leave this place quickly. Poseidon Island does not welcome you. Although I don't know how you came to Poseidon Island, leave the same way you came. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite." Tang San came to Tang Yu's side and frowned. "Can't we join Poseidon Island by passing the test? Why do you keep people 1,000 miles away?" The middle-aged man snorted coldly. "It seems that you know a little about Poseidon Island. I'm letting you leave for your own good. It's impossible for a soul master from the land to pass the test and join Poseidon Island. Sir Poseidon's test for soul masters from the land is not something you can pass. If you don't want to die, then leave. It's good for young people to have courage, but if you're only reckless, you'll lose your life." Tang San smiled. "Senior, since we're here, we won't leave easily. No matter what kind of test it is, we want to try it. You're right. Recklessness will cost us our lives, but if we lose our courage, then we don't deserve to be soul masters." The middle-aged man frowned. "I'll give you one more chance. Leave or accept Sir Poseidon's test. Once you accept the test, there's no possibility of quitting halfway. Even if you die because of it. Sir Poseidon's test has nothing to do with your cultivation. It may be as simple as having you pick up a handful of sand, or it may be as difficult as having you challenge a 100,000-year-soul beast. Have you really thought it through?" Shrek 7 and Bai Chenxiang said almost in unison, "Yes, we want to accept the test." Everyone was brought to a strange stone pillar by the middle-aged man. The stone pillar was shaped like a sharp cone, and a special sculpture was carved at the top. The entire pillar was engraved with countless complicated patterns. It seemed to be some kind of text, and an invisible and strange energy was being emitted from this strange pillar. A black-clothed man was sitting under the stone pillar. Tang Yu took a look, then smiled and shouted, "Seahorse Dolu." Everyone was shocked when he shouted. Of course, the shock was different. Tang San and the others were shocked because they knew that the black-clothed man was a titled Doluo, and Tang Yu actually knew him. The yellow-clothed middle-aged man and the youths looked at Tang Yu in disbelief. On Poseidon Island, no one had ever dared to disrespect the 7 Doluo of the 7 Saint Pillars, but this young man actually dared to call one of the 7 Doluo Seahorse Dolu. Seahorse Doluo trembled and opened his eyes. He looked at Tang Yu and was shocked. He hurriedly stood up and bowed respectfully to Tang Yu. "Junior greets Destiny Dolu." "What?" Shrek, Bai Chenxiang, and everyone else looked at Tang Yu in shock. The yellow-clothed youth suddenly said, I remember now. He's Destiny Doluo, the one who broke into Poseidon Island alone 2 years ago. Even the great consecrator couldn't do anything to him." Tang San and the others looked at Tang Yu in shock. Tang Yu had been to Poseidon Island before. Moreover, he seemed to have broken in. Even Poseidon Doloa and Poseidon couldn't do anything to him. Broke in alone? I snuck in secretly, and I had my disciple with me at that time. I didn't want to cause any trouble. It was you who insisted on capturing me, so I fought back. Don't talk nonsense if you don't know what to say, Tang Yu said angrily to those people. May I know why Destiny Doloa has come to Poseidon Island? A woman's voice came from afar. Seahorse Doloa and all the yellow-clothed youths showed respect when they heard the voice. Poseidon, long time no see. I'm here to accompany my third brother and the others to gain experience. Tang Yu replied to the voice. For your sake, I can let them gain experience, but you don't have to. It's not suitable for you at all. It's useless for you. As for their test, whether they can succeed or not depends on their efforts and luck. The woman replied. I don't care. You don't have confidence in them, but I have confidence in them. Also, I have news about him, Tang Yu said with a smile. The woman suddenly stopped talking. Then, she suddenly spoke again. However, she was quite excited. Really? You really have news about him? Yes, Tang Yu said. See you at the old place. Tell me where he is. The female voice didn't speak again after leaving this sentence behind. Sigh. Senior Tang, you owe me a favor. Tang Yu sighed slightly. Then, he looked at Tang San and the others. Third brother, you must endure the test. I'll come and see you every few days. Tang San and the others were stunned. Light Rain, are you leaving? Didn't I tell you? I'll come and see you every few days. Tang San and the others nodded. Then, Tang Yu turned to Seahorse Doloa and said, I'll leave them to you. Yes, Seahorse Doloa said respectfully. This was respect for the strong. Tang Yu floated up and looked into the depths. The old place. Then, he disappeared from everyone's sight. Somewhere in Poseidon Island 2 people sat in front of a stone table. One of them was a beautiful woman in her 30s. She wore a bright red robe and her long blue hair was draped over her back. She was noble, elegant, and warm. In her right hand she held a 3-meter-long scepter. The scepter was golden and engraved with magical patterns. At the tip of the scepter, there was a diamond-shaped protrusion that looked like a spear. 5 inches below the tip of the spear was embedded with a diamond-shaped golden gem. The other person was a young man in blue who was in his 20s. He had snow-white skin and long blue hair that draped over his waist. His blue eyes were as deep as the universe. More importantly, his face was even more beautiful than the red-robed woman. However, there was a hint of handsomeness in his beauty. If it wasn't for his Adam's apple, one would have thought that he was a girl. They seemed to be talking about something. Is it true? He failed the 8th test? Could it be? The red-robed woman exclaimed. Calm down first. He's still alive. It's because he didn't pass the 8th test that he couldn't inherit the Shura's godhood. He felt that he was too ashamed to see you, so he stayed in Massacre City as the god of slaughter. The blue-robed man spoke for a long time. Is that so? It's good that he's still alive. What a fool. He actually kept that promise. So what if he can't become a god? I don't care. The Tang Chen I like is not someone who will be defeated by difficulties. The red-robed woman stood up and muttered as she looked into the distance. The 2 people who were talking were Tang Yu and Poseidon Island's high priestess, Poseidon. Just then, whoosh! A blood-red light suddenly shot into the sky. That direction was the seahorse holy pillar. Then, a blood-red light shot into the sky from the other 6 directions. The 7 blood-red lights converged in the sky. The next moment, the blood-red color faded away. From the point where they converged, an extremely brilliant golden light descended from the sky. That's... Poseidon's face was filled with shock and disbelief. Poseidon's 9th test. As expected of the third brother, Tang Yu looked at the golden light in the sky and laughed. By the time he finished speaking, Poseidon had already disappeared from where he stood. Tang Yu shook his head. Although it's Poseidon's 9th test, whether or not you can complete it depends on you, third brother. I also believe that you can complete it, sigh. But it's a pity. You should have inherited the nature god's throne. Open. In between Tang Yu's brows, the third eye of destiny suddenly opened. A thick golden aura began to emanate from it. The 7th test is finally here. Tang Yu was shocked. After he read it, his face suddenly became quite dark. F***ck. This is a joke. What the hell is this 7th test? Forget it. Let's go to this Tempest Thunder region. They actually asked me to persuade them. Tang Yu tore a crack in the air with his hands and entered it directly. After Tang Yu entered the crack, it quickly returned to normal. Tang San looked at the completely stunned Seahorse Dolois and asked, Senior, if the red color is the top test, then what's this golden color? I think I need to complete all 9 tests to pass. Just as Seahorse Dolois was about to speak, the female voice that Tang Yu had spoken to earlier suddenly rang out. Don't make it difficult for him. This is the first time something like this has happened since Poseidon Island appeared. What you have to go through is not the top 9 tests. It's the 9th test of Poseidon. The voice came from afar. When the last word reached Shrek 7's ears, a red light spot in the distance slowly enlarged. Everyone only felt that the space seemed to be slightly distorted. In the next moment, there was another person in front of the seahorse holy pillar. It was Poseidon. Greetings, High Priest. Seahorse Dolois bowed slightly and saluted the red-robed woman. I failed to complete Lord Poseidon's instructions. Please punish me, High Priest. It's not your fault. This is also the first time I've seen something like this. She looked around, and everyone present seemed to feel that she was looking at them. However, the red-robed woman's gaze was finally fixed on Tang San. Or rather, it was fixed on the golden trident brand on his forehead. Young man, I've waited for more than 100 years. Can you tell me where you came from? Junior Tang San pays his respects to Senior. My great-grandfather's name is Shan Chen. Tang San bowed almost 90 degrees and respectfully saluted Poseidon Dolois, who represented the highest authority on Poseidon Island. However, to his surprise, Poseidon Dolois by Saishi's figure flashed slightly and appeared beside him. She did not accept his salute. There's no need to be so polite. You're Tang Chen's great-grandson? Bai Saishi's voice was a little surprised. Tang San respectfully said, Yes. Bai Saishi's deep blue eyes revealed a trace of dazed brilliance. Time flies. Even his great-grandson is already so old. I didn't expect that the person I've been waiting for was his great-grandson. Destiny Dolois must have known about this long ago. Bai Saishi quickly recovered and looked at Tang San. Tang San, look at me. Tang San looked into Bai Saishi's eyes. Bai Saishi solemnly said, From now on, you must remember that no one on Poseidon Island is qualified to accept your salute, including me. Tang San looked at Poseidon Dolois in surprise. He did not understand why this peak powerhouse would say such a thing to him. Bai Saishi turned to Seahorse Dolois. Ouya, pass on my order. Before these 8 people complete Poseidon's test, they will be the island's distinguished guests. No one is allowed to neglect or offend them. Apart from not helping them complete the test, try to satisfy their conditions as much as possible. You can stay in your Seahorse City. Also, gather the other 6 people and hold a meeting in Poseidon Hall tomorrow. Yes. Seahorse Dolois respectfully replied. Bai Saishi's gaze fell on Tang San again. She smiled and nodded at him. Very good, very good. I believe that you will be able to pass Poseidon's test. If you need anything, you can ask Ouya. Remember, you must complete at least one of the 9 tests of Poseidon every year. Otherwise, all your previous efforts will be wasted. Also, Tang San, you must remember to never let the thought of failure appear in your mind. I can tell you that your test is related to the survival of Poseidon Island. If you fail, the consequences will not be as simple as death. It will be much more terrible than death. As soon as she finished speaking, everyone felt a red light in front of their eyes. In the next moment, Poseidon Doluo, who was originally standing in front of Tang San, and Bai Saishi, who had been flying in front of him, disappeared. Chapter 29. The Second Test. The white figure enlarged in everyone's eyes. Under their astonished gazes, the huge demon soul Great White Shark King leaped out of the sea and soared into the air. A glaring grayish-blue radiance blossomed from its perfectly streamlined body. Strangely, its body actually shrank rapidly in this radiance. Under everyone's astonished gazes, it quickly transformed into a tall girl and appeared in front of Shrek 7. It seemed that her height was about the same as Tang San's. If she was an ordinary girl, it would be easy for her to look uncoordinated when she reached such a height, but her figure looked so perfect. Her white leather-like attire outlined her perfect figure, and her beautiful curves made her look full of temptation. Her grayish-blue long hair draped over her back and fell directly to the ground, just like Xiao Wu's long hair. Her eyes were also grayish-blue, and her fair skin was suffused with a faint grayish-blue luster. Her nose was tall, and her face was a little angular, but it didn't look out of place. Instead, it was very unique. She gave people a moving exotic charm. Looking at her, except for Tang San, Dai Mubai, Oscar, and Ma Hongjuan's eyes were almost shining. The lethality of such a unique exotic beauty's appearance to men was extremely terrifying. However, at this time, the woman transformed by the demon soul Great White Shark King did not come to cheer them. After she transformed into a human, she landed on the ground and stared straight at Xiao Wu. A strange grayish-blue light constantly flashed in her eyes. Tang San could clearly feel that a strange energy fluctuation was emerging from Xiao Wu's body. The appearance of this energy fluctuation was obviously directly related to the demon soul Great White Shark King. It's a very strange state. Although she's alive, it's a little strange. Then, she looked at Tang San and said coldly, "Human, tell me, what's wrong with her? Don't try to play tricks. Otherwise." A terrible pressure was suddenly released, and everyone almost knelt down. However, they all endured it. "Stop." A simple and honest voice suddenly sounded out. A thick layer of ice had formed on the surface of the sea, and everyone was able to stand stably. Snowflakes started to fall from the sky, and everyone subconsciously looked up. They saw a simple and adorable fatty around 18 years old wearing white clothes flying in the air. He looked down at everyone and gave off a transcendent aura. A super 100,000-year soul beast. The girl transformed by the demon soul Great White Shark exclaimed, "No, no. Little shark, today Big Brother will teach you a good lesson. A soul beast that is over 200,000 years and can transform into a human should be called a ferocious beast." After Fatso's last sentence, he teleported and appeared. Everyone was shocked. His speed and his size. What a contrast! He was clearly so, but his speed was so fast. So fast! The white-clothed girl was shocked, but before she could continue thinking, a fist was already flying towards her. The young girl subconsciously protected herself with her fists, but a terrifying hidden force suddenly erupted from her fists. Boom! The girl was directly blasted 50 meters away before slowly coming to a stop. What a terrifying strength! She was shocked. What's wrong? A 200,000-year ferocious beast is so weak? How did you survive all these years? You don't even know how to fly. You're a disgrace to ferocious beasts. Fatso shook his head. Senior, please don't interfere in Little White's matters, okay? Otherwise, Lord Poseidon will not forgive you. Senior has lived longer than me, So you should have heard of Lord Poseidon's fame, right? The girl saw that she was not his opponent, so she could only use Poseidon to try to subdue him. Poseidon? I'm sorry, who is he? I really don't know him. Fatso scratched his head and laughed foolishly. I only know my grandfather. He is much stronger than your Poseidon. Everyone was shocked, and so was the girl. He actually doesn't give face to Lord Poseidon. Could it be that there is a god behind him? Also, did you just say that your name is Little White? Fatso's face became a little cold. Yes. Before the girl could finish her sentence, she saw Fatty rushing towards her. You impostor! I am the real Little White! He roared, and his body suddenly became huge. It was obvious that he had returned to his beast form. Everyone was so shocked that they could not close their mouth. What a huge bear! Just its shoulder height alone was about 20 meters, and its body was about 40 meters long. When it stood up, it was already more than 100 meters tall. Its snow-white fur was fluffy, and it had large blue vertical pupils. There seemed to be some fine dragon scales on its shoulders and some other parts of its body. Its claws were especially sharp, and there seemed to be a sharp protrusion on its forehead that looked like a dragon's horn. On its back, there was a pair of huge blue dragon wings. The 8 spirit souls had all absorbed the blood of the Silver Dragon King, and the remaining dragon power from the dragon source that Tang Yu ate. Therefore, there would be some dragon transformation. An ice bear with the bloodline of dragons? The girl was very shocked. Let me see how strong you are, Little White. The huge bear's right paw slammed towards her. That gust of wind made the people around feel very uncomfortable. Enough, Little White. A voice pierced through the air, and Shrek's 7 monsters were all given a huge fright as this voice belonged to Tang Yu. The huge bear's paw instantly stopped when it heard Tang Yu's voice. He hurriedly transformed into his human form and looked at the sky. He smiled foolishly and said, "Grandfather, why are you here?" Everyone looked up and saw a person standing in the sky. Wasn't that Tang Yu? He was emitting a strange aura, just like a huge dragon. You still have the nerve to say that? It was you guys who wanted to come out to relax, that's why I called you guys out. But you're great to actually directly come to cause trouble. Tang Yu said with rage. Another soul beast? And it's a pure-blooded dragon's soul beast. The girl looked at Tang Yu in shock. His aura seemed to have already taken half a step into that door. You really know a lot. You're not bad in my eyes. You're worthy of being the island's guardian soul beast chosen by Poseidon. Tang Yu smiled at her. You're the person behind him? The girl couldn't believe it. A soul beast actually dared to call Lord Poseidon by his name. Soul beasts couldn't become gods, right? He had actually taken that step. I'm really sorry. Little White has troubled you. Tang Yu landed on the ground and bowed slightly to the girl. It's okay. I also benefited a lot from the battle with Senior Ice Bear. Little White hurriedly stopped Tang Yu. A powerful soul beast actually apologized to her. She was going to lose her lifespan. Grandfather, I saw that she was also called Little White, so I wanted to test how strong she was. In the end, I didn't expect her to be a rookie fierce beast. Little White said. That. May I ask, the fierce beast that the 2 seniors are talking about is? Little White asked carefully. Fierce beasts. Didn't Little White tell you before? Fierce beasts are soul beasts that can transform into humans after 200,000 years. At 200,000 years, soul beasts are considered to have stepped into the forest of the strong among soul beasts. Even I don't know how many fierce beasts there are on the continent. Take the sea nearby as an example. Other than you, there are other fierce beasts here, and some are even stronger than you. Tang Yu said. But Before Little White could finish, Tang Yu continued, you think you haven't reached 200,000 years, right? Soul beasts like you who are chosen by God are like this. You have a trace of divinity in your body, and your cultivation speed is very fast. Under the enhancement of divinity, you can't reach 200,000 years without reaching 200,000 years. And because of the protection of divinity, you don't even have to go through the second calamity. I see. Little White was enlightened. Even she didn't know that she had reached 200,000 years. After that, Fatso also successfully broke through to rank 70 and absorbed the inner core of the 10-headed sun snake. He successfully evolved into a 7-headed phoenix, and the flames of the phoenix completely transformed into ultimate fire. He also successfully slimmed down and became more handsome. 5 months later, Shrek 7's strength had a great breakthrough. Other than Xiao Wu, who had become a spirit soul, the other 6 people had all become 7-ringed soul sages. Especially Tang San, he had reached rank 78. He was very close to rank 80. With the tacit cooperation of the 8 people, they successfully passed the second calamity and formed a friendship with Little White on the circular sea. Little White stood on the sea and watched Tang San and the others waving goodbye to her. She felt a little reluctant to part with them. This should be your first human friend, right? Little White? A clear voice suddenly sounded. Little White was shocked. She turned around and saw Tang Yu standing behind her. Senior, so, not everyone in the human world is bad. There are good people too, Little White muttered. Then, she laughed and said, "Ha ha! What a strange creature." When Tang Yu heard this, he couldn't help but sigh. Humans are really strange creatures. A year later, Tang San and the others completed the third calamity of the tidal body tempering. Tang San still overachieved. His purple demon eyes finally broke through the last vast realm. His spiritual power reached the limit of rank 99, Dolua's realm, and his soul power reached rank 80. Poseidon compatibility also reached 25% in the past. He had asked Tang Yu what Poseidon compatibility was. Tang Yu only told him that he would know when he reached 100% compatibility. It was a good thing. Even Poseidon said the same thing. The evil-eyed white tiger Dai Mubai, a rank 78 assault-type soul sage. Uncle Sausage Oscar, a rank 75 food-type soul sage. The thousand-handed Shura Tang San, a rank 80 control-type soul sage. He was already very strong at the age of 24, not counting the freakish fighters like Tang Yu and Wang Dong. The evil phoenix Ma Hongjun, a rank 76 assault-type soul sage. The soft-bone rabbit Xiao Wu, soul power unknown. Her body has become stronger, and her rewards have been stacked. The 9 treasures glazed glass Ning Rongrong, a rank 76 auxiliary-type soul sage. The netherworld civet Zhu Zhuqing, a rank 77 agility-type soul sage. Tang San's fourth calamity was the Great Shark Whale Battle. He had to help the great demon white sharks kill the evil demon Tiger Shark King. All 7 of them were from the same tribe as Little White, Poseidon's Hall. We can finally begin the first half of the 8th calamity. Third brother, everyone, I'm here to help you. Tang Yu stood up and said slowly. Yes, the first half of Tang Yu's 8th calamity was to help Tang San and the rest complete the 4th calamity. Oscar looked out at the sea and said, "How do we find Little White? Do we go to the sea? What if she's not around and we meet her descendants who don't recognize us and attack us?" "Oh, everyone's here." A clear voice sounded. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw a 17-year-old youth in blue looking at them with a smile. His icy blue hair fluttered in the sea breeze and emitted a blue glow. His beautiful face was a little handsome. Wasn't this Tang Yu? Light rain. Everyone was delighted. They hadn't seen each other for a long time, and they all hugged him. "Are you here to find Xia Xiaobai?" Tang Yu asked. "Xia Xiaobai? That's a good name. Is she not around?" Ma Hongjun asked. "She is. I've already seen her. Are you here to help her?" Tang Yu asked. "Ah. Light Rain, you're not going to participate, are you? Everyone was shocked. Yes. The first half of my 8th calamity is to help you, Tang Yu said. The evil demon killer whales are not easy to deal with. They're not as easy to talk to as I am. They're all extremely ferocious creatures in the sea. Other than the deep-sea demon whale king, which can intimidate them to a certain extent, these monsters have always run amok in the sea. My brother died in the mouth of the evil demon whale king. If I had the ability, I would have destroyed that bastard who tainted the sea. Among us aquatic spirit beasts, there are also different levels. Overall, we demon soul great white sharks, deep-sea demon whales, and evil demon killer whales belong to the top of the food chain in the sea. But in reality, there's a certain gap between the three of us. The deep-sea demon whales are undoubtedly the strongest, but there are very few of them. Furthermore, most of them live alone and rarely live in group. Furthermore, the deep-sea demon whales are lazy by nature. They usually open their mouths and wait for food to come to them. Other than the deep-sea demon whales, the strongest are the evil demon killer whales. Although I don't want to admit it, those bastards who tainted the sea are indeed stronger than us. Sha Xiaobai gritted his teeth. His eyes were filled with hatred. The evil demon killer whales are extremely bloodthirsty aquatic spirit beasts. Even the deep-sea demon whale king doesn't want to provoke them. Because the evil demon killer whales are soul beasts that live in groups, and because they don't have any natural enemies, their numbers are quite sizable. These bastards who tainted the sea are unrestrained in the sea. Even when they don't need food, they will continue to kill. They will not hesitate to tear apart any living creatures they encounter. All aquatic spirit beasts are filled with hatred towards them. It's just that they're so strong that no one dares to challenge them. About 500 kilometers away from here, there's a group of evil demon killer whales. They're our archenemy. Almost every few decades or centuries, our two clans would start a holy war. After that, Sha Xiaobai's clan lost. Tang Yu continued. The evil demon killer whale king's huge body stopped floating on the surface of the sea. It didn't chase after Sha Xiaobai. The original metallic luster on its body was quickly replaced by a layer of gray. An incomparably huge energy wave seemed to have sealed off the entire sea. It was similar to the third stage of Sha Xiaobai's domain, where the sea was solidified. Regardless of whether it was the evil demon killer whales or the demon soul great white shark, their speed became slower. Not good! Sha Xiaobai exclaimed and rushed forward again. However, there was an additional layer of special invisible energy around the evil demon killer whale king's body, which repelled her body again. At this moment, even its eyes turned from blood red to gray. The air around its body started to distort violently. It's going to self-destruct! Sha Xiaobai screamed in fear. Empty! The evil demon killer whale king's body started to expand slowly. It was like a balloon that was about to explode. However, that expanding body was suddenly stopped by an invisible energy. The evil demon killer whale king's body was compressed by that strange energy and returned to its normal size. The evil demon killer whale king was shocked. Its self-destruction was actually stopped by someone? Who exactly was it? Why don't you cherish your life at all? Do you want to waste your life like this? A faintly discernible voice sounded. Tang Yu had already appeared in front of the nefarious killer whale king. She stretched out her right hand and rubbed the nefarious killer whale king's smooth head. She smiled and said, "Don't waste your life anymore, okay?" His voice was like an order. After the evil demon killer whale king heard it, it actually nodded subconsciously. "Good boy," Tang Yu said with a smile. His hand that was emitting green light of life touched the evil demon killer whale king's huge and smooth head. However, the evil demon killer whale king wasn't angry. On the contrary, it even sprayed water at Tang Yu. It seemed to be acting spoiled. This made Sha Xiaobai and Tang San extremely shocked. The evil demon killer whale king that was previously ferocious and terrifying actually became so obedient. It was like a kitten. I once swore that if I didn't have a reason to kill a soul beast, I wouldn't kill any soul beast. Furthermore, I don't have a reason to kill him. Tang Yu laughed as she looked at the killer whale king that was spitting water at her. Under the light of life from the life sword, the evil demon killer whale king's injuries actually started to slowly heal. Your injuries have reached your foundation and soul. This is going to be difficult. Tang Yu frowned slightly. The evil demon killer whale king's body trembled. It knew what Tang Yu was saying. It was obviously giving it a death sentence. However, I can let you live in another form. There's a possibility that you can become immortal. Of course, it's up to you whether you're willing or not. Tang Yu said to the evil demon killer whale king. Tang San was stunned. He knew why Tang Yu said that. Tang Yu wanted to obtain a second spirit soul for him. I am willing, the evil demon killer whale king slowly said. His foundation and soul were damaged. How long could he live for? He also wanted to give it a try if there was such an opportunity to become immortal. As for fusion and whatnot, I won't write it down. Tang San's 7 soul rings, yellow, yellow, purple, black, black, red, and red, appeared around him. Following that, an 8th soul ring that was shining with red light appeared, as well as his left leg that was shining with red light. It was very obvious that it was his left leg bone. Furthermore, it was 100,000-year soul bone. Beside Tang San, a huge transparent killer whale appeared. It was 20 meters long and gradually became smaller. After that, it transformed into a small fish and laid on Tang San's shoulder. In the future, please take care of me. May I ask what your name is? Tang San asked the small fish. Just call me Xiao Hu, the small fish said. Alright. I've offended you before. In the future, please take care of me. Xiao Hu. Tang San smiled. Chapter 30. In the 5th test, you challenged Doluo of the 7 great titled champions and passed. Due to some trickery during the challenge, you were unable to gain the recognition of all the 7 holy pillars, Doluo. Therefore, the reward was reduced and you were only given the basic reward of 5% Poseidon affinity. You completed the test in 11 hours, which was less than a third of the total time. The reward was multiplied by 3. Poseidon affinity increased by 15%. Total affinity increased by 50%. Due to the trickery, you received a higher reward. The 6th test has changed and the difficulty has increased. Increased difficulty. Tang San could not help but feel bitter. He had passed the 5th test by trickery, but he did not expect the 6th test to be more difficult. But so be it. I'll take it. In the 6th test, you have to survive the time it takes for an incense stick to burn in my hands. But don't worry. During the test, I cannot use the power of the sea or the temple to attack you. I cannot use the power of my domain. You can only use the first 6 soul skills. At the same time, as long as one of you is still standing when the incense stick burns out, you will pass the test. However, you only have one chance. Due to the lowered difficulty of the 5th test, you only have 3 days to rest. Poseidon disappeared after he finished speaking. Tang San, Shrek's 4 monsters, and Bai Qinxiang all felt the pressure. Because Zhu Zhuqing only had 5 tests, she did not need to participate in the 6th test. The rest of them had to participate. Is this test really good for them? Poseidon looked at Tang San and the others from afar. What's the big deal? You know what? When I was over rank 50, I fought Doluo. Although I only made a bet with that senior to see if I could hurt him, I won in the end. Although that senior went easy on me at the crucial moment. Third brother and the others have to face such a strong opponent, Tang Yu said slowly. His Majesty Destiny Doluo actually won a bet with Doluo Peerless when he was over rank 50? Then may I ask what that senior's title is? Poseidon was also interested in such a strong opponent. His title? It's the Dragon Emperor, Tang Yu said and disappeared. Dragon Emperor Dolua? Why haven't I heard of this person's name before? Tang Yu's forehead split open, and his eye of destiny opened. The 9th test of destiny has arrived. Tang Yu's body trembled. This was the final test. Once he completed it, he would be able to inherit the position of God of Destiny. Who? He sighed and looked at the sky. He wondered how Han Tian was doing. In the depths of the clouds, in a barren land of ice and snow, there was a mountain of ice and snow in the center. A blue-haired young man, who looked very similar to Tang Yu, was sitting cross-legged in the palace. I knew it. You're still alive, he slowly said. A beautiful young girl appeared behind him. She was very beautiful and looked to be only 16 years old. Her long, ice-blue hair and ice-blue dress matched exceptionally well. Sigh. After the Dragon God War ended, everyone in the God Realm and the 5 law enforcers knew about my relationship with you and wanted to use me to threaten you. If not for that, you wouldn't have betrayed the dragons at that time. In order not to implicate you, Father sent me out of the God Realm. With my strength at that time, I could create a world of my own. I believe that you will definitely come to find me. No matter how long I have to wait, I am willing to wait. I know everything about you now. I will give you my position of God now. That's not important. I just need to know that you're still alive, Tian Ruoxue. Han Tian, who had been expressionless, actually revealed a very gentle expression. Sigh. I wonder how Father is doing? The young girl muttered. Don't worry, the first generation is not dead, Han Tian said. The young girl was suddenly shocked, then delighted. Really? Is Father really still alive? Yes. Yes, but I hope you can accept the current first generation. Ha ha. It doesn't matter. I can accept Father's appearance as a little boy. How bad can he be now? The next time I see Father, I'll tell him about our marriage. On a certain island in the Dolua continent, there were many birds and beasts on the island. Their cultivation bases ranged from 1,000 years to more than 100,000 years. At the center of the island there was a stone statue. It was a beast with a dragon head and a horse body. It had a pair of dragon horns, and the horse's body was surrounded by dragon scales. Its tail was like a dragon's tail. A blue-clothed young man suddenly appeared in front of the stone statue. Is this it? He looked at the stone statue. This is a Qilin? Tang Yu was a little surprised. He had never seen a real Qilin. The first generation had told him that there were records of Qilins in the Ice Dragon King's memory. Qilins were auspicious beasts, the ancestor of all beasts. Every time a Qilin was born, 5 colored auspicious clouds would appear here. This area would be covered by auspicious clouds, and luck would flow continuously, dissolving the ominous signs. Tang Yu slowly raised his right hand and touched the stone statue. Kacha! With a shattering sound, the stone statue cracked open. Whoosh! A terrifying aura was suddenly released. 5 colored auspicious clouds suddenly appeared on top of the stone statue. Tang Yu was shocked and hurriedly retreated 10 meters. He frowned. Divine Beast? 8-ring Divine Beast King. The stone statue shattered. Roar. A thunderous roar resounded through the sky. When the roar came out, all the birds and beasts on the island prostrated themselves on the ground. Even the powerful soul beasts of more than 100,000 years prostrated themselves on the ground, as if they were worshipping their emperor. What appeared in front of Tang Yu was a golden Qilin that was shining brightly. It stood on 5 colored auspicious clouds, and its golden eyes were staring at Tang Yu. The inheritor of destiny? A voice that could not be distinguished between a man and a woman sounded. Tang Yu nodded. Looks like you're the one who finished the top 8 tests. How incredible! Since the appearance of the divine seat of destiny, no one has been able to inherit it, because they don't understand how magical destiny is. It did not continue speaking. It slowly said, "Your final test is to kill me." "Kill you?" Tang Yu was shocked. Hey, hey, hey! You've seen my strength. I'm only a quasi-god. How can I kill you? And tell me, what reason do I have to kill you? The golden Qilin did not speak. It really had no reason to ask him to kill him. I'm a divine beast. My godly soul ring can be your 10th soul ring. Don't talk to me about this. It won't tempt me, Tang Yu interrupted. You. The golden Qilin looked at Tang Yu's deep eyes without a trace of greed. It had never seen anyone who could remain so calm after hearing about a godly soul ring. As long as you can last for the time it takes to burn a stick of incense, I can promise you one thing. Anything, the golden Qilin said. Okay, Tang Yu said. The Qilin stepped on the ground with its right foot. Boom. The ground trembled, but Tang Yu was as still as a mountain. Good. The Qilin looked at Tang Yu with admiration. Was Tang Yu really as relaxed as he looked? Of course not. He had swallowed the blood that he almost spat out. He was sweating profusely. This pressure. Second move. The Qilin shouted. It spat out golden flames from its mouth. The flames attacked Tang Yu, and the surrounding space trembled. Qilin's flames. Tang Yu was shocked. He was about to release his Ice Dragon King martial soul, but a strange force prevented him from doing so. He released his Destiny Spirit Eyes. What's going on? He was about to release his Ice Dragon King martial soul, but he changed it to Destiny Spirit Eyes? However, he reacted instantly. 3 soul rings, 1 gold, 4 red, and 1 rose gold, appeared, and his third eye opened instantly. The first soul ring is actually a million-year soul ring, and the 6th soul ring is a destiny soul ring? The Qilin was shocked. It ignored the 7 red soul rings, and only the 1st and 6th soul rings attracted its attention. The golden flames deviated from their original trajectory under the guidance of a strange force and fell to the side. Boom! The ground was burned into lava. "Chior, everyone, help me!" Tang Yu said. As soon as he finished speaking, 8 rays of light emerged from between his eyebrows and transformed into 8 figures. Standing to the right of Tang Yu was a golden-haired girl who was not even 17 years old. She wore bluish-gold battle armor and had a third eye on her forehead. Standing to the left of Tang Yu was an 18-year-old golden-haired boy in white. Next to him was a 17-year-old girl with twin green ponytails. She was extremely beautiful and wore a green dress and a golden crown. Next to her were 2 other girls. One of them was an 18-year-old girl with snow-white hair and a white robe. The other was a 16-year-old girl with light blue hair and a light blue dress. Next to them stood a handsome white-haired boy and a white-robed fatso. There was also a cold-looking youth with blood-red hair and a blood-red cloak. They were Wang Qior and her 7 spirits. There are actually so many divine beasts? There are even million-year soul beasts and fortune beasts. The Qilin was shocked. Qior. Tang Yu held the golden-haired girl's hand. Their soul powers began to fuse. It was a martial soul fusion. Ah, it's been a long time since we fought together. Wang Qior laughed. As if it had collapsed, it transformed into countless rays of golden light that swept towards Tang Yu. Every ray of golden light would leave a dazzling light. Wherever the light passed, a piece of golden armor would appear on Tang Yu's body. The breastplate was a dragon's head, while the armor was a golden helmet, shoulder guards, and wrist guards. Behind him was an illusory gold-and-silver dragon. The 7 spirits also transformed into 7 rings of light of different sizes. Gold, green, snow-white, light blue, bluish-white, crystal blue, and blood-red. Finally, an 8th ring of light appeared, rose-gold. The 8 rings of light stacked on Tang Yu's back, and Tang Yu's aura suddenly exploded. His aura was actually not inferior to the Qilin's. This was a spirit-soul fusion technique. Tang Yu had tried it when he was in the God realm, but he failed. Now, he finally succeeded. Moreover, it was even stronger than he had expected. By gathering everyone's strength on himself, his strength could soar rapidly in a short period of time. Judging from the current situation, he had directly increased from a quasi-god to an 8-ringed supreme god. This showed how terrifying the increase was. Even the Qilin was moved. What a terrifying increase! The Qilin was shocked, as expected of the heir of fate. However, you want to defeat me? It's not that simple. The surrounding environment began to change. It was a barren land. It was like a desolate world. Tremble under the desolate power of my desolate domain. The Qilin's voice sounded. Tang Yu blushed with shame. This Qilin was actually a Chunibyu. However, Tang Yu also frowned. This desolate domain was actually slowly dissipating his power. No. He felt that he couldn't stay in this desolate domain any longer. The Qilin suddenly lowered its head, revealing a pair of sharp golden horns facing Tang Yu. Its right hoof began to rub the ground. Boom! It suddenly ran wildly and rushed toward Tang Yu. If I get hit, I'm finished, Tang Yu thought. The halberd also slashed toward the Qilin's horns. Bang! As soon as they collided, a repulsive force directly pushed Tang Yu back. Tang Yu hurriedly stabbed the halberd into the ground. Crack, crack! The halberd blade slid 50 meters on the ground before Tang Yu could stabilize his body. What a powerful impact! The Qilin's right hoof continued to rub the ground, as if it could charge at him again at any time. You're like a fighting bull now. Tang Yu laughed. Don't compare me with those beasts. Yes, yes, yes. You are the ancestor of all beasts. You have the power of auspiciousness and are worshipped by all beasts. However, think about it. If you don't have the power of auspiciousness, are you still the ancestor of all beasts who are worshipped by all beasts? Tang Yu said slowly. This guy was just like the Chior in the past. I've known about this for a long time. If it weren't for my auspicious power, those beasts wouldn't have supported me. I've gotten used to their various forms, so I decided to live in seclusion. I didn't expect that I would be chosen by fate to become the guardian beast of fate. I'll wait here for the successor of fate to give me a test, and finally become his strength. This is the mission of my life. Have you never lived for yourself? Tang Yu asked. This is also very similar to me in the past. The Qilin was stunned. Cut the crap. If you can't defeat me, I won't promise you anything. If you can't defeat me, you will never be able to inherit the position of the god of fate. The Qilin stood on its hind hooves and lifted its front hoof. Then, it quickly stomped on the ground. Boom! The ground cracked. Tang Yu was shocked. The Qilin's strength had actually become stronger in the chaos domain? It stomped on the ground and directly rushed out of the chaos domain, flying 10,000 meters high in the sky. Not bad. You can actually force your way out of my domain and even know how to change the battlefield to the sky. The Qilin praised. Then, it also leaped high into the sky. It stepped on the 5-colored auspicious cloud and began to run wildly in the sky. In less than a breath's time, it had caught up with Tang Yu. As expected of the Qilin, legend has it that the Qilin can step on the 5-colored auspicious cloud and can travel 10,000 miles in an instant. Its speed is also ranked in the top 10 among all beasts. Although you're not as strong as the dragon god and not as fast as Ziyan, you're still very strong, Tang Yu said. Don't compare me to those extreme monsters. The Qilin shouted angrily. It revealed its pair of golden horns again and rushed toward Tang Yu. Tang Yu grabbed the giant horns with extreme speed, then used the momentum to do a somersault and directly rode on the Qilin's back. I've ridden dragons, whales, and sharks, but I've never ridden a Qilin. You! The Qilin's eyes narrowed. You bastard! How dare you ride on my back? Golden flames began to burn on the Qilin's body. However, the moment the flames were about to burn, Tang Yu had already teleported to the side. Damn! You almost burned my butt. Tang Yu predicted the Qilin's next move because of the innate ability of his destiny spirit eyes, so he dodged in advance. The Qilin's body began to emit golden light and gradually shrank. It's going to transform into a human? Tang Yu was shocked. Don't tell me it's also a woman? Why did I say also? An 18-year-old girl walked out from the golden light. She was extremely beautiful, with blonde hair and blue eyes. Her hair fell to her thighs. She wore golden armor and held 2 golden swords in her hands. Damn. It's really a woman? Tang Yu thought. You. She looked at Tang Yu angrily. You bastard. How dare you ride on me? This. Tang Yu's face was full of black lines. He was being unreasonable. Since he didn't say it out loud, who would know it was a woman? Moreover, why did her words sound so strange? Humph. I'll beat you up until your mother can't recognize you. The 2 golden swords in her hands slashed toward Tang Yu. The ice-blue halberd suddenly blocked the golden swords. You, if you have the guts, say it again. For unparalleled. Tang Yu's aura suddenly soared. A 9th black and white halo appeared behind him. He hated it when people slandered his mother. What? You, if you have the guts, say it again. Qilin's face was full of anger. She didn't care about the 9th divine halo. So what if I call you? For unparalleled. Roar. Only my father can call me for unparalleled. Who do you think you are? Qilin's flames began to burn. This was her divine flames. I am Yuhao. I don't care who you are. How dare you call me for unparalleled? Go to hell. You should go to hell. Burning divine flames? Do you think I'm afraid of you? Boom. 2 auras comparable to a 9-ring supreme divine king erupted. Bang. Boom. The sky changed color in the Dolua continent. Gold and 5 colors flashed and dazzled the world. This. What the hell is going on? Is this the end of the world? Oh my God. I don't want to die. This. What a terrifying aura. Who is it? Which expert has come out? This was the feeling of ordinary people and people with soul power. This is not the aura a human should have. It's not something a human can do. It's even stronger than the angel god's aura. Could it be that someone has become a god? And it's even stronger than Rakshasa god. This aura. It's actually not any weaker than God Shura's. What a terrifying aura! It's even more terrifying than Lord Poseidon's strength. Is it him? This was the feeling of those who stood at the peak of Dolua continent. Land of Dawn. Boom. Phew. Now. Only the 9th test is left. A woman kept panting. She looked at the miraculous gold and 5-colored radiance in the sky again. Looks like you're still faster. But I'm almost there too. Roar. A huge white dragon suddenly appeared and roared at the woman. A guardian divine beast. The woman frowned. But fortunately, it's not a level 2 divine beast. The woman held a 3-meter-long golden scepter in her right hand. It emitted light. Her left hand held a small golden hammer. The hammer had golden patterns on it, like a small golden dragon. The woman looked at the 2 weapons and felt that the hammer was more convenient. The woman put away the golden scepter, and the small golden hammer in her left hand began to slowly expand until it was 3 meters long. Pointing at the giant dragon, he shouted, "Judgment, life and death with a hammer!" A terrifying aura erupted. Another place. Whoosh. A huge eyeball suddenly appeared. It had a pair of scarlet wings on its back. It stared at a 15-year-old girl not far from it. The girl was extremely beautiful. She had blood-red hair and bewitching eyes. She held a long saber in her right hand. The girl looked at the scene in the sky. "Master, I must pass the final test." His 9th soul ring lit up. Lingji, die. Just as he finished speaking, boom. The huge demon eye instantly shattered and died. Ninth soul skill, speech spirit. What I said will come true. God realm, the center of the God realm, this aura. It's actually a God King, and there are two of them, and I actually feel that they belong to the beast race. Should we do something? Forget it. What reason do we have to stop the God beast? The super God realm didn't instruct us to deal with it. In the past, it was because we carried out his orders that caused that Lord. Alright, this time, even if there's a decree from the super God realm, it's best that we don't interfere. Because if we interfere, that Lord doesn't seem to be dead. Super God realm, there was a majestic palace. This palace was bigger than a planet. In the palace there were two thrones. On the left throne sat an extremely handsome man with long black and white hair with his eyes closed. On the right throne sat an extremely beautiful woman with long black hair and black eyes. She held an open book in her right hand. There was a pen clipped to the cover of the book. She was very beautiful, but her face was filled with worry. The man suddenly opened his eyes. That guy is actually still alive. There was a trace of horror in his eyes. Sigh. It's all because of what you've done in the past. I've tried to stop you before, but you didn't listen. You wanted to abide by the rules of the universe and not let him become a God King. In the end, in order to stop him, you even issued a decree to the first God realm and let them start the War of the Dragon God. This war killed him and the Dragon God that you thought was a potential threat. However, do you know how many gods and god beasts you killed by doing this? After that, you even added a rule that all beasts who wanted to become gods couldn't become level 1 god beasts. Little Sequence, you weren't like this before. The woman said sadly. Little Sequence, you should apologize to him and change those restrictions. I think on account of your former friendship, he will. Enough. Do you want me to bow down to him? Bow down to him. I can't do it. Moreover, I really can't bow down to him and apologize to him in front of you. Don't dissuade me anymore, okay? Little Sequence. I must stop him from becoming a super god. Little Sequence. You've changed, you've really changed. The woman stood up and tears fell from the corner of her eyes. Little Sequence. Little Sequence. Don't cry. Don't cry. The man hurriedly stood up and hugged her to comfort her. Little Sequence, don't throw away the most important thing to you just to abide by the rules of the universe. Don't do anything stupid again. After saying this, the woman left without looking back. The man just stood there in a daze. Once, the most important thing to me. Is it? Ha 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 ha. Finally, he began to laugh crazily. The most important thing. What a joke. He's a villain. A hypocrite. It's because I befriended him. He took away the most important thing to me. He took away my dignity, my status, and your heart, little Zay. He took everything from me. I hate him. I hate him to the core. I will kill him again. You just wait and see what happens. My good brother. The first generation. God of emotions. Dolua continent. On an island, a young man was sitting cross-legged on the back of a golden qilin with his eyes closed. However, the young man's aura was a little strange. He was obviously there, but there was a feeling that he wasn't there. It was as if he had merged with heaven and earth. Suddenly, he opened his eyes instantly. That pair of eyes that were as deep as the universe seemed to be able to see through everything. The aura that was about to burst out was actually restrained. Behind him, 10 soul rings appeared. Golden red rose, golden red dazzling gold. 10 soul rings. Then, they slowly disappeared. The qilin that he was sitting on trembled. This bastard. Stinking lunatic. But he memories. Pff, you. I'm not fighting anymore. I'm not fighting anymore. Can't I just admit defeat? You're a lunatic who is crazier than a lunatic. Very good. I remember you said that you would agree to a condition of mine, right? Humph. Am I the qilin, that kind of beast that plays tricks? I'm willing to accept defeat. If you have any requests, do as you please. It doesn't matter if you want to kill me or cut me. Even if you want my body, it's okay. Her face turned red when she said the last sentence. Tang Yu's face darkened. I've seen a lot of women who are not worse than you. Tang Yu helped her up. My condition is not to take your life. Wait, if you don't kill me, how will you get the 10th soul ring and become a god? Are you willing to become my family, ah? Memories ended. The Qilin looked at Tang Yu, who was stretching his muscles. This stinking lunatic, looking at him carefully, he seems to be very handsome. Previously, I thought that his face was so beautiful that even I felt a little jealous, but now I actually feel that he is so handsome. However, he is really a complete lunatic. That aura of wanting to defeat me even if he has to risk his life. I'm really attracted to this guy. Hey! For misfits, why are you in a daze? Quickly leave this place and go to Poseidon Island. Tang Yu's words came over. The Qilin was not angry. This lunatic had completely subdued this arrogant Qilin. I got it. But now you have already become a god. Don't you plan to ascend to the god realm? The Qilin was puzzled. Ascend? Haha. The divine position of destiny is a divine position without ranks. It does not belong to any god realm. I can go wherever I want. Tang Yu laughed. That's right. Since that's the case, why do you want to ride me? Don't you want to ride those giant dragons in your body? Tang Yu's face was full of black lines. This sentence felt weird somehow. I have no choice. It's more comfortable for you to ride me than them. Wait, why does this sentence feel weird too? The Qilin did not speak. If Tang Yu looked carefully, he would definitely see the extra blush on her face. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.